Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, man, I get to help out with the Aegis draw stroke today as well. Let's go.
Ooh, busy day.
It's admin duties, and none of the other admins are around, so the challenger admin gets to help out with all the other capped leagues. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just really quickly mute your stream. Wait, why can I still hear the music? Where is this coming from? Oh, from Parsec, of course. Okay, sorry. Yeah, hadn't used Parsec in a minute. Okay, guys, welcome back. Saren, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again this week. So yeah, I'll do a little bit of an intro, as usual. Then we'll give it over to you guys to introduce yourselves. Where are we at on the graphicals? Wherever we are on the graphic, we'll just go left to right for introductions. So you switch back over to that other screen. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so that's going to be the order for introductions. And then our main thing for this episode is we're doing something a little bit different this week. We've got some clips prepared. So we're going to have you guys react to some clips this episode. And then if we have time, we'll get into some predictions and that sort of thing as well. Sound good to everybody?
Yeah,
Sounds
sounds
good.
good. Should we
Awesome.
should we be watching the stream, the logo streamer?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That works for me. Um
Running a small business? Create your invoices at skynova.com. Easy, but professional.
Zaxby's just perfected the Philly again with our signature crispy chicken fingers, sauteed pepper and onions, melty cheese, and garlic aioli. Grilled or fried. Now that's a Zaxby's Philly. Who's got the sauce? Zaxby's.
Good afternoon, NA Amateur League enjoyers. Welcome back to week 2 of Blue Otter Premier. We've already had our first match of the week played last night. That was the Spire picking up their second win of the season, 2-0 over the Literal Monkeys. On the schedule for today, we do have Conduit Esports taking on Dorado Gaming for our first best of 3, and then later on, Team Solo Invade will be facing off against Elysium. Before all that, of course, we will be starting off the stream in OT. We've got some more amazing guests joining us this week, including a familiar face. Guys, please do introduce yourselves with your IGN, what team you're playing for here in the Premier League, and one goal that you have for this season, either a personal one or a goal that you have as a team. I believe we had you first, Dilly.
Yep. So my name is Dilly. I'm the starting ADC for Elysium. I'll be playing against TSI later today. And our team's goal is to win the whole thing. I think every team's goal should be win the whole thing. So that's the goal.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Perfect. And I'm Hax. I play for TSI. I will also be in the LE TSI game as the support today. We haven't really with our team talked too much about goals, but I think winning is number one, and also growing more kind of with the group of players that we do have. So little gains along the way, and hopefully, like Dilly shared, to win is the goal as well. So we'll see.
Of course.
And thanks for having me back. I'm Sarah, and I am the starting mid laner for Omega Gaming. And I talked a little bit about the goals of bringing people into amateur, but overall, our coach has stated that we want to win the whole thing, and who am I to deny him?
Right. Sarah, and I feel like your main goal for now, at least, is to fix those connection issues that we were dealing with. It's first things first. In my mind, at least.
From what I've been told, they've been fixed, and we're not running on the time limit tomorrow. So,
all right. So goal. That's already one goal accomplished. Amazing, absolutely fantastic, guys. We are now going to move into a new segment. So I'm very happy that you all are here today. You're my first guests for this new segment. I am calling it Crewman's Clip Council. Basically, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be looking at some clips from last week, and we're going to be determining, as a collective, as the council, we're going to decide if the main takeaway from these clips is somebody securing the booty or somebody walking the plank. In other words, is this a hero clip or a zero clip? Does that make sense to everybody?
Makes sense.
All right.
Got it.
In that case, Mr. Producer, if you are ready, we could go ahead and take a look at our first clip. This is the first team fight between Omega Gaming and Dorado from last week's match. Taking a look here, looks like the Maokai ultimate to start off. Really nice Seraphine ultimate there as well. The Skarner Impale, so definitely some great value. Then Dorado able to turn it around pretty nicely with the MF ultimate there, getting a ton of value. Pretty back and forth fight overall. And it looks like the aftermath of that, I believe, was 3. It was a pretty close fight. Was it a 3-for-3? Let's see here one more time. Really nice Azir shuffle there as well. Okay, yeah, so it's just a 2-for-1, it looks like. Dorado did manage to come out ahead on the tail end of this fight. So, Dilly, let's head over to you first. What's one of the really big moments in this clip that stood out to you in terms of one of the plays that was made?
Well, the part that really turns the fight in favor of Dorado is MF getting her flash off and into a good position. After the Skarner ult, after the Maokai ult, after the Seraphine ult hits her, she still gets a solid ult off in order to turn the fight around for Dorado. If she doesn't get that ult, then it's probably much worse for them and looks a lot better for Omega.
Yeah, definitely the case there. Hax, what are you thinking? What really stood out to you?
Yeah, if I'm Omega, I feel good about hitting my Seraphine ult. Skarner feels real good right there, hitting that. And then you see MF do those things, and it's kind of like, oh, this looked super winning, and now it's kind of, not. But
Yeah.
It's like one of those, if you have a wombo, set up on your team and you hit it, and then you're like, oh, but shoot, we're not. This didn't play out exactly how we thought. I think the Maokai does a good job of initiating too, coming from a separate angle as well. So yeah, it's a really, really good MF play, I think, or else it's just not good for Dorado at all.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was Wonderworld, right, on the MF. It's hard to read the text of the player names is very, very tiny. Okay. Yeah, so Wonderworld on the MF there, definitely playing this fight pretty well. Saren, I believe you were the Azir here, correct?
Yes, I was the Azir.
So what, I mean, obviously you have a little bit of a different perspective as you were actually part of this play. So maybe you have some extra insight for us or anything you wanted to comment on in this clip?
So I've actually reviewed this fight a bunch of times because I
Mm.
specifically remember just how poorly it went when we were in a position I thought we were really, really good, and then everything kind of went awry. Um, it's really, and you can kind of see it when the fight breaks out. The Wukong gets off a 3 or 4 man ultimate that's completely stifles my flash engage
Mhm.
onto the MF before I can even ult.
Ah,
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. There it is
it
right there, yeah.
it lets her completely freely reign over the fight, and I specifically remember just being shocked that the Wukong ult stopped me in that
Mm.
moment when I was going
Mhm.
for something deep.
That's Wak Warlock's Wukong, I believe, right?
Correct.
I believe that was the Dorado jungler. So, Saren, from your perspective, do you feel like it was a hero play then for the Wukong mostly? Would be your main takeaway from this fight, or?
Uh, I mean, yeah, I would consider it like I think the like if they hadn't played this team fight so well, this fight spirals completely out of control for the game. It was kind of a turning point for them to kind of get back a hold in the game where we were in some ways out macroing them during game one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. As you can see at the top there, it's still relatively early on in the game, so definitely a key moment there to sort of make sure that Dorado wasn't falling too far behind, as you say. And it seems like the general consensus of us here in the council is that it was very well played by Wak Warlock's Wukong and also Wonderworld's Misfortune to kind of turn around what was a pretty nice engage from the side of Omega. That seem about right to everybody?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next clip. See what we have here. This is a 26-minute Baron fight from the same game, I believe. Yeah, there's Wak Warlock's Wukong again, spinning around as he moves into the Baron pit. They start this one off. Just gotten a pick onto the Omega jungler, as we can see here. Skarner in the Death Chamber currently. And then the side of Omega still looking to contest. The Azir ultimate there just used to peel to sort of maintain that space, maintain the battle lines for Omega. They managed to take down. There it is. There's the first kill going over as they do manage to take down the. Wow, why is nobody in the? Is there a visual bug there? There's definitely some people dying, but there's nobody in the. I got baited by the Otacon buff. Right, of course. Okay, so one more look at it here. Pretty nice Maokai ultimate initially to hold them in place. And then, of course, the side of Dorado trying to go for the turn. Pretty nice Azir ultimate there as well. Maintain that space. And then the withdraws start to come through. Wak Warlock trying to go in. The shockwave there from the Orianna definitely pretty impactful. And it is the side of Dorado that end up getting a bunch of value as they chase down multiple Omega members. Saren, let's start with you this time around. Obviously, you didn't have your jungler at the start of this play, but still making the call to contest the objective, not wanting to just give over the Baron, right? So walk us through it a little bit, just your perspective in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, when we're down our jungler, and not only that, but we're facing down Otacon, the call here was basically just delay as much as we can, give Renekton as much time as he can in the bot side.
Mm.
And I mean, we got like I can't make excuses. We completely misstepped, and we got rolled by the Wukong Orianna.
So in your mind, then you feel like this is maybe even a little bit of a zero play from your own team, where you kind of allowed yourself to get shockwave a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Our focus here should have been delaying for the Renekton, and we just overstepped, and it cost us not just 3 people, but it also cost us a Baron, and then our Renekton wasn't able to finish what he was looking to finish.
Yeah, and obviously after that team fight winning the Baron going over, then and Dorado having already been in the lead, before this play, that definitely put them in a really good spot for the rest of this game. Well, Hax, what do you think? Having heard Saren's perspective now as well, what are your main takeaways from this clip?
Yeah, I was trying to watch the Baron. They did a good job of keeping it from healing. They kept damaging it. So even like towards the end of this clip, after the first one goes down, I believe, what is it for Omega or Dorado? Whoever the first one is here, the what is it, Leona?
Leona, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like MF is still hitting, and it's like, and then the shockwave goes, then it starts to heal. It's like, oh shoot. Yeah, and then the rest of the fight. Right. So what's crazy too is the new Otacon that revive. Like you see Leona show up right in Renekton's face after dying. So it's like a really big power play now to combo those two. I know it's been talked about. I've seen in a few streams because even if this play goes bad or if no one gets the Baron, but you can then reset, defend your base. It can kind of be strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely can see, what Saren was talking about as well. Given the fact that the Otacon buff was on for Dorado, you never really want to actually commit to the fight there, right? As Omega, you're just trying to get them to stop hitting the Baron, and buy time for the Renekton, like Saren said. So, are you pretty much in agreement with what Saren said as well, Hacks, in the sense that it was just a little bit of an overstep from Omega in this instance, or do you feel like it was really more credit to Dorado for setting up the play? Which side of that are you leaning towards?
Yeah, I think the communication probably from the Wukong Oriana to say, "Hey, let's go. Like this is our fight. We're on a timer with Renekton bottom," because then they make the decision because they're continuing to do the Baron and then they get off of it. I like the Seraphine ult. Leona comes in really good as Azir ult, and then I think after this Leona kill, yeah, if there's some way to not even turn back, like if I don't
Yeah.
think there was vision, but if they knew the Baron was healing, that they could just straight walk away from it, and then they're on their timer. But it is a really thin play. I don't think it's without vision in the pit there, it's really kind of hard to tell, I think.
Yeah, definitely a tough call. Seemed like the key moment there was Maokai going back in with the W after the Leona withdrawal had already come through. That actually kind of ended up giving the set, Killa's set, a way to taxi in towards the back line and end
Right.
up taking out those other Omega members as well. So yeah, it was that moment right there when the Maokai goes back in, and then Set gets that huge combo. But one more person to hear from about this clip. Dilly, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, it worked out for Dorado in the end. To me, they're coming across as like very indecisive with what they want to do with this play. I think with the Atacon buff, your advantage is you can force the fight. And I think they should all be getting off Baron together, taking the fight. And anybody that dies in that fight is going to go back to base and defend the inhib that I think Renekton gets here. Um, but instead, you have people going forward. You have people still hitting the Baron. They're not committing to one thing. I think Dorado could have got a lot more from it if they just full committed to the fight.
I see what you mean.
As
Yeah,
the
or a
clip
couple people
plays
still
out, like
hitting.
MF is still hitting it, Wukong's still hitting it, Set starts to walk back into the pit, and like they just needed to be more decisive, and they could have gotten more from it.
So then, would it be fair to say that you're more on the zero side of things, where you feel like it wasn't necessarily crisp shot calling from Dorado or anything like that that secured them the win in this play? It was really more Omega just overstepping a little bit and getting punished for it.
Definitely. And yeah, it's I don't know about that exactly.
Okay.
It's just Omega feels like they have to do something, and they're buying time for their top laner to get. I don't know if he got 2 towers off that push in inhib or just one. I don't know if the clip starts early enough for him to get. It looks like he got 2 towers. So honestly, it might be worth for Omega. They get 2 towers. They open up the enemy base. The other team does not finish Baron. The other team gets 3 additional kills. I'm probably taking 2 towers, open base, and I kind of like Omega's position after the fight more than Dorado's, honestly, despite Dorado getting the kills.
Interesting, Dilly. So your main takeaway from this is kind of just a little bit of a zero for Dorado, actually, despite the fact that they did win the fight and they got those extra kills. You feel like they ended up losing more than they should have because the shot calling wasn't as coordinated as it should have been.
Pretty much. And I don't know what happens after the clip if Dorado gets the Baron after, but I'm pretty sure they're too low to do it after the fight happens. And then with an open inhib bot, Omega has the pressure to use that to make a Baron play after everybody's respawn. So I think it leaves them in a pretty good position.
Makes sense. Saren, do you remember what happened after this clip? Do you recall?
There's like half of me that thinks that they weren't able to get off, or they had to get off the Baron because of how much damage had been done, and I think Otacon might have been running out at this point. I don't vividly remember. I do remember that the game goes on for another 30 minutes after this, so
It sure does. And we've got another clip from it as well, which we're going to get to in just a moment. But it does seem like general consensus from the council here is room for improvement on both sides in this particular play. Some crisper shot calling would have been nice from Dorado, and then just some slight mechanical misplays perhaps for Omega to end up losing out more than they really meant to. Let's go ahead and move on now to our third and final clip from this game, I should say. Or from this match. This is actually a clip from game number 3 of this match between Omega and Dorado. So taking a look here, we got 1v1 between Wei and Mordekaiser in the bottom lane. Wei, of course, being played as AP carry in this game. Tower's going to go down here. Death's Grasp pretty good from the Mordekaiser to try to create that little bit of extra space, but Cassidy can follow, and there's a shutdown going over to the Wei, and then we're going to transition to the other side of the map here as well and get a little bit of a replay here as it looks like the Jax does manage to escape underneath the turret and does not go down. So only casualty in this clip, I believe, is going to be the Mordekaiser. And Saren, let's come to you first again. You're playing the Cassidy, yes?
yes, I am playing the Cassidy.
So it's what was your kind of what was the plan, leading into this clip? What was really the game state? Just break it down for us. Give us a little bit of a summary.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, I don't even remember if I was level 10 or 11 at this point. I think I
Believe
might
you
have
were at
just
least
eclipsed 11.
11.
Yeah, I just eclipsed 11. It's my time to like start doing things on the map as Cassin and stop just AFK farming. But alongside that, feats hadn't been finished yet, and it was really going to be kind of a race for first tower. So the call was made for me to teleport bottom lane while the Mordekaiser ult was happening, so that I could help clear that tower. Uh, that helps us get feats, and all the while they're making a play on the top side, so that play is almost dead. And then once the tower is dead, there's no way a Mordekaiser can escape a Kassadin, so he's just left kind of for dead.
Yeah, makes sense. So a successful play then that was planned and then executed by you and the rest of the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I was. We were still coming off our game 2 win, and I think
Yeah.
I was really proud of this moment for
Very
the
nice,
team.
very nice. Okay, well, Dilly, let's come to you next. What's really standing out to you in this whole little sequence?
Just good heads up by Credo to commit the TP for first tower as well as getting the kill on Mord. I don't think there's anything like crazy mechanically happening in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more so a good macro read.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense to me. Hacks, I assume you have a pretty similar read on this one.
Yeah, I like what Saren said, because if you look right here in the clip, Vi is like right at like in mid, like trying to look for a play mid, and then they see the TP coming, which was proactive, right, from the Cass and Saren and Omega. And then Vi is like, okay, I need to make this play. Cross map, I believe, flashes into hit the R into the Jax, or maybe just her Q, maybe flash Q, it looks like. Yeah, and then Jax still gets out. So what I like about it is that Omega kind of force the hand of Dorado there, and Jax ends up living, which may not have, right? But the play, I mean, that's a really good, I think, snowball for Omega, a really good pivotal point in the game, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely. A pretty easy consensus there. Just a well executed play from Omega. The fact that they're able to get the feats in the aftermath of this as well, pretty fantastic for them. Of course, we know now that it wasn't quite enough to get them actually the victory in this game, unfortunately. But definitely seems like there's a strong foundation here to work with for the side of Omega at the very least. So good stuff there. Mr. Producer, let's go ahead and move on to our fourth clip, if you could. All right, so this clip is from the best of 3 between the Spire and High Alert. This is the last team fight, I believe, of the first game. So you can see Amumu going in there to start off with the bandage toss, and then buys, or no, that was the, yeah, it was the Mumu to start out, and then Ari goes very deep, buys time with the Zonias. Skarner has a really nice 3-man impale there, but unfortunately the rest of the team has kind of already been routed, and it ends up being a very one-sided team fight victory for the Spire. Taking one more look at it here. And this is Dilly, of course. You are on the Jinx, I believe, in this game, yes?
No, I'm not on
No,
either of
you're
these
not on.
teams.
Sorry about
Let's
that. Sorry
boost
about that.
this on the Jinx.
You're on Elysium,
Yes.
Dilly, right? There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Slight confusion there from your host. Sorry about that. But definitely a very, very big team fight win for the Spire. You know, obviously denying the soul there as well. I think they probably just pushed to end after that fight. I'm not 100% sure. I don't quite recall.
If they didn't, then they made the wrong call. It's 36 minutes, and they have a wave halfway down mid. They definitely end there.
I believe they did. But Dilly, what else is jumping out at you from this clip?
Sante positioning. He's completely isolated from his team, and he just gets ran down at the start. He doesn't get to participate at all. And then Amumu gets a pretty big ult off to hit the majority of the back line for High Alert, I believe.
I see what you mean there. Cassante is really separated from the rest of the team. The Ari is kind of doing the same thing, where she's like running interference, but the Ari ends up being much more successful at buying that time and creating that space because she has the Zonia's activation.
Yep,
She to sort of get her
Zonia's,
those extra couple seconds.
Also just has her ult, which will give her a lot more escape potential, survivability versus Cassante. And it looks like he's being slowed. I think it's probably Lulu passive that is just kind of slowing him from the autos, and polymorphed, and he doesn't get to play the game.
So the main thing that's standing out to you here is a little bit of a 0 for the Cassante positioning, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, interesting. Hacks, coming to you next. What are your thoughts on this clip? What's the first thing that jumped out at you?
I think the Mumu played it almost perfectly. Like you're waiting for your second Q charge. They're essentially front to back and getting the Jinx reset, and then Mumu like gets in to hit the ult like in the kind of the second part of the fight once Jinx is online. And also too the space that was created at the start. I don't know if it was Kassadin Zonia's, I believe it was.
Ari.
Or
Ari versus Syndra, the mid lane match.
Yeah. That this Zonia's from Ari. I mean, it's just so huge. Their team's there. Jinx is gonna get the reset, and then it's. I also thought too I don't know how the vision was playing out, technically, but just walking into that vision, I mean, you can see Amumu at the start of the clip just be able to pull the trigger, and you never want to be in that position, having a Mumu come from fog and hitting your team. That never feels good.
Yeah, there was that Scryer's orb in the bush behind the dragon pit. I think that was probably too far away, though, for High Alert to actually see where the Amumu was. I'm pretty sure that Amumu Banish Toss did come from fog. And yeah, definitely really well played by the Amumu. I think Witch actually had another engage at a different point in this game where he got like a 4 or 5-man Curse of the Sad Mummy off. And we did, on the caster desk, end up awarding Witch the POG for his performance in this game on this Amumu. But we do still need to hear from Saren about this clip. So we're a little bit divided so far. Dilly is kind of calling out the Cassante positioning as maybe not being ideal, whereas Hax was really focused on the engage from the Amumu. What's really standing out to you, Saren?
So as a mid laner, I have to, and as a Syndra player myself, I have to, like, I'm just constantly watching Ethereal Ice during this team fight. Not only are we just saving unleashed power for the low health Amumu when you could just execute him and move on to different targets, Skarner hits what I'm going to call a 7-mana impale, where he hits 3 people and then nothing happens. It is like It's shocking. I don't know what's happening. It feels like everyone's running away. Meanwhile, Zeri has ult channeling, but there's nothing going on, and no damage is being dealt to the 3 people who are being like stunned.
I mean,
what's
if we
going
see
on?
Here, I think the Skarner ultimate, unfortunately for Hyler, did end up just coming a little bit too late. I mean, if you see the timing here, Amumu goes in with his ultimate before the Skarner ultimate comes out. So by the time the Impale lands, I feel like the team fight is kind of already over. But But yeah, definitely worth mentioning there that, maybe the Syndra, if she fully committed onto the Amumu who was diving forward, maybe they could have gotten that first kill, possibly even before he, let's see, would they have been able to kill the Amumu here if we just watch?
I mean, even just execute the Jinx instead of just standing there and dying. I don't know. I have so many criticisms I could spout off at this Syndra. Just letting people live when you're at full stacks at level 17.
Yeah. So it sounds like definitely from your perspective and from Dilly as well, some misplays perhaps, some unwillingness to pull the trigger at the right time from a couple of these high alert members, particularly the solo laners. Does that feel like a fair assessment?
It just seems very uncoordinated, I'd say. It seems like everyone started panicking when this giant Wombo combo came out, when that was kind of the end of their engage, and it's just like a lack of capitalizing on what could be good scenarios in exchange for, I don't know if it's fear, I don't know if it's tilt, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in the players' heads.
All right, fair enough. Well, despite Hacks trying to convince us otherwise, or Hacks, do you have any other thought? Do you want to respond to these criticisms, perhaps, in any way?
Yeah. I think Spire played it well with the Mumu. I think maybe Skarner can get a better ultimate off to enable Syndra to maybe have the confidence before everyone falls in front of her, right? But yeah, still, I was checking that Scryer's orb there too. Yeah, I mean, the dragon's on the map. No one's in lanes. Like, this engage is incoming. So it's just to face check the bush when you don't. It's kind of shows that, okay, High Alert had confidence there, and then it just kind of blew up. So that's my, after seeing it a few times, that's my my follow up ideas.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So a little bit of we understand the thought process, but unfortunately a little bit of a zero there, I think, for High Alert in terms of execution and preparedness. And then one other quick aside, Hacks, I know you introduced yourself earlier. I'm sorry, but could you just quickly remind me what team you're on?
Yeah, TSI support.
Right. Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're
but I
good.
think that's going to conclude our conversation for this particular clip. I believe we have one more. Okay, so this is going to be your turn to be reviewed. Were you in this game, or
I was not. Nope.
we're not in this game? Okay. So that's who is playing support again for TSI in this one?
Relics was.
That's right. So Relics on the Seraphine here. Run it through the clip. This is towards the end of it once again. So this is a fight that's happening around the third dragon in this game. It's pretty even up until this fight really breaks out. So we're going to go back to the beginning here in just a moment. Take another look at it. So currently river control for Conduit. And then they try to go for an engage here. They pop the Silver Ultimate. Amumu goes in with the bandage toss. They end up kind of funneling through this choke point. The Amumu kind of gets exploded a little bit. And then it's kind of just a really nice phalanx gets set up from Team Solo Invade, where they kind of soak up the engage and then just hit whoever's in front, and it allows them to end up winning out in the team fight. And then a bonus kill here on the back end as NBK manages to take it down to the retreating Cassio. So Hacks will come to you first this time. Not in this game, obviously, but how'd you feel about your team's performance in this play?
Yeah, it was a good. It felt good watching the outcome of it, of course. But I don't know why Conduit, unless they knew they could 100-0, but their Cass isn't really in the play, and their Mbessa's just was walking down mid at that time. So, knowing that these chokes, allowing Xerath to just poke and have that control when you're trying to engage through that, I'd say it's a 0 for Conduit. I just. Yeah, Sivir ults, Mumu goes in. It's Rel's looking for it. It's just kind of disjointed, I think. Not a bad idea. I think that is the area where they want to be engaging from, but just without your Mbessa taking a fight where you're down essentially 2 players, I don't know if that's ideal at all. But you can see how low TSI was, so it's not just kind of very close to being a good play.
I do really like you call out the definitely, yeah. I do really like that you call out the fact that Ambessa was not with the team at the start of this fight. As you can see there, she was just walking down the mid lane, just kind of arriving now, is Obi's Ambessa. So Yeah, the side of Conduit were engaging without all 5 members there. It could be another one of these situations where they didn't have perfect information, right? Maybe they didn't realize that all 5 members of TSI were present and kind of ready for this fight. But let's hear, Sarah, your thoughts. What's jumping out at you in this play?
I'm just rewatching the clip just to make sure I'm not missing anything here. But I think my main takeaway. First question is why? Why are we overforcing this play? Your Amumu doesn't have his ultimate, which is like the reason why you would force this play. Your Mbessa's off in Narnia. It seems like such a gigantic overforce, and then like it completely allows Maokai to just ultimate and then sit in the back line. You have no recourse for that. Your points of strength, one of your points of strength is off in like completely the other side of the map. It just I can't make sense of it.
Yeah, that's an important thing to remember as well, right? This is like the dream scenario for Maokai, right? Enemy team funneling at you through a choke, and you just get to kind of like press R here and root a whole bunch of people, getting a ton of value there, and end up setting the team really nicely to chase down these kills. So, yeah, definitely. Consensus so far is a pretty big overforce from Conduit. Not really. Again, they kind of had the right idea, but just pushing too deep into the enemy jungle there when they didn't have all 5 members present. Do you have a pretty similar read, Dilly? What's jumping out at you really from this clip?
Yeah, Hacks and Credo basically covered everything. Conduit only sees Ornn and Maokai on the map and decide to full send it without a Mumu ult. Even if they have a Mumu ult, I don't think they should be full sending it on Maokai and Ornn. Because the champions like Seraphine and Xerath are just standing in the back, shielding them up with Seraphine W, and you see the damage coming out from MBK on Xerath.
Oh yeah,
It's just a really, really bad play.
yeah. Pretty clear consensus on this one. A little bit of a 0 for Conduit. They are gonna have to walk the plank, I guess, as a whole team for this call. Unfortunately, I guess maybe Ambessa is exempt. Hard to know what the comms were if Obi was like, I'm on the way, or whatever the case may have been. But hoping to see the shot calling for Conduit tighten up a little bit this week, and maybe they are going to be able to bounce back after what was a pretty decisive 0-2 loss to TSI in this match. But that's going to do it for our first clip council. So thank you guys very much for joining me for that. We don't have very much time left before we need to be going into the break for to get ready for our first game here. Production, do we have any kind of graphic for predictions or anything like that? Okay. Let me just really quickly pull up the matches that we are going to... Oh, yeah, we don't have time. It's fine. We'll just go ahead and transition to shoutouts. So, Saren, let's come to you first. Your shoutouts, please, for the stream.
Yeah, I mean, just like last week, shout outs to the team, some of the greatest people I've had the pleasure of working with for the past few months. Shout out to Nubly for joining our team, the mysterious 5th member who's replacing Griff. Shout out to Ivar for, again, being just a great org owner, but also filling in last week. And I guess shout out to someone who I won't name, but is my #1 fan. Enjoy the 2 weeks.
Ooh. The unnamed shout out. Very intriguing. Hacks, your shout outs, please.
Yeah, I'll shout out the team as well. It's fun to play with these players. I've played with a few of them before or seen them around the /all league that all of us, I think, have played in or are at least aware of. And Brendan, too, also the commissioner for the /all league. He helped organize the team, get the players together, and making sure everyone's on the same page. So it's going to be fun to grow with these players throughout the season.
Fantastic. Last but not least.
Shout out to the rest of the team except for my mid laner. You're a griefer. And shout out to everyone that's going to be watching us on the stream later tonight. Looking forward to it. Shout out Hacks. Good luck, bro. I'll see you in bot lane.
Hey, you as well, brother.
Excellent.
It's going to be fun.
Looking forward to seeing how hard your mid laner's going to grief you today, Dilly. Should be fun. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of Otter Talk. Thank you again, guys, so very much for joining me for this one. We are now going to go into a short break before game number 1 between Conduit Esports and Dorado Gaming. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are about to get underway with our game one.
Okay.
The match that we
Yeah,
cast
Kerman,
last
your
week
mic's
was
having
Conduit
some issues
Esports
here.
going down 0-2 pretty decisively. Oh.
Yep. Your mic is definitely cutting out here, Kerman. But yeah, welcome back, everybody.
Well, I
to our
just
second week here of the Blue Water Emerald League. We just finished up Auto Talk. Should be getting to this next game soon between Dorado and Conduit. That's their name. Okay. Just had to double check. I thought it was Conduit. I might have messed up. Are we back, Crewman?
my
Crewman is still
computer
troubleshooting.
is...
It looks like the draft has started, though, for anybody wondering. Yeah, draft has started. We are in ban phase here. There's the transition. Hello. You can see. Well, it started, but we're taking a bit of time here for our first ban. Conduit is going to be on the blue side this time around. Dorado on the red side. And... oh. Link got broke? Uh-oh. Well. Okay. We are working here. First ban is going to be the Cassante. The Mel going to be the first R1 ban here, interestingly enough. Definitely had a very powerful start to the champion, but got some decent-sized nerfs to at least tap her down a bit. The Aatrox definitely going to be more on the target ban side here of things, but a lot of top laners being taken away here by Conduit, and maybe the Mel too, if you want to stretch it here for Dorado Gaming. I had one friend who played Mel top. It did stuff. Wouldn't say it was terrible. Wouldn't say it was like any hidden meta sleeper LP. Misfortune, though, also taken off the board. Pretty solid pick right now. Did get a little tap in the nerf department dispatch. It's not as powerful, but still up there in the prio. We'll see what the teams want to prioritize here once we get through the through the ban part of pick and ban, or the first part of the ban part of the pick and ban, if that makes sense. Zir taken off the board. Classic mid laner has been up there for everything, and never really just gets forced out of the meta unless Riot just takes the nerf bat to the knees here. We'll see what Dorado wants to round off the banning here with. Garner is still available, considered probably one of the more powerful, if not the most powerful jungler in the meta right now. So if that does slip through, I wouldn't be too surprised here if we see that B1'd. Ziggs taken off the board. We'll see. Is there Skarner prio? I know Varus is also a strong B1 prio just due to the flexibility of the champion. You always have the ability to do lethality or on hit. If you so please.
I think I might be back, Gopher. Can you hear me?
You are back, yes. We can hear you. Can't see you
Okay.
yet, but I assume that's
I am using a different web browser. I think I might have been possibly getting nuked by Microsoft Edge. That's the theory anyway. So.
Oh, well, yeah, Microsoft Edge sucks, so.
Yeah, we were just discussing how Microsoft maybe not the greatest. But anyways, yes, thank you for keeping up with the draft there. Karma B1, like you were just pointing out, very, very interesting. Pretty surprising, I think. Not really a high priority pick by any means.
This is a champion we've been seeing a little bit more of in the meta, I feel. Part of that might be influenced by the fact that a lot of leagues are using Fearless Draft now, so people are dipping deeper into their champ pockets right now. But brings some okay utility as the support. It gives you strong poke in the laning phase here. So could pair it with the Varus here for some strong poke in the bot lane. It is answered with the Jinx plus Xin Zhao. We know how powerful Xin Zhao is for early game duels and just how strong the Jinx can scale, but Jinx is vulnerable to poke here.
Definitely can be. Yeah, so we saw Jinx Xin Zhao come out last week as well. I don't quite remember who was playing it, but relatively common pairing, right? Xin Zhao really good at breaking up those fights. And then Jinx does kind of excel in those situations as well, right? If you just are able to pick off that one isolated target, get the passive going, can look really, really nice. The Smolder coming out here in response for Conduit. So really indexing pretty heavily into scaling with that pick.
Got to give you a bit of mixed damage too, since the champion has a very nice mixed profile. The Elise coming out, so that could be support Elise. I know that's all the rage right now, because basically you have enough base damages in lane, and you realistically only need the Zaxax plus the I forget the name of it. It gives you penetration against lower health enemies or something. It used to have the shield penetration effect. Either way, though, you just get those 2 items and you're able to basically baboom any ADC in a 1v1. So we'll see if that goes there, or if it's the more traditional jungle here.
Yeah, we shall see. Well, I mean, I feel like Smolder Elise is not really like a lane. I mean, would that work? Like against Jinx Leona, that just seems terrifying, doesn't it?
Well, against Jinx, it's okay, because you land the cocoon, and Jinx is a very mobile ADC who needs to scale up, very vulnerable to all-ins. Not sure about being paired with the Smolder, like you said, if this is indeed the support Elise, because there is always flex potential here. Technically, all 3 of these Conduit picks can be flexed here, although
True.
Mid lane Smolder, I feel, is kind of troll. Don't really want to be seeing that. It has its specific matchups where it works, I think, but for the most part, keep it to the bot lane, please.
Yeah, somebody I'm pretty sure here in the Premier League did play Smolder mid last week. I think that might have been day 2 when we had Chong and Ferris casting. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember for sure if anybody did play it, but it's definitely a possibility that I don't think we can entirely rule out just yet. I did want to mention. We think it was Cora actually, who is the mid for Dorado. So possibly a bit of a pick away here from Conduit could be the angle that they're going for. We'll have to wait and see, how the rest of these drafts do end up shaping up. But a couple of other things I did want to mention, Goferino, due to these just relating to these teams and what they got up to last week. That was the first match that we cast. First match of the season was Conduit versus Team Solo Invade. And if you recall, Goferino, that was pretty one-sided in favor of Team Solo Invade. So Conduit not really able to get too much going in that match. They're definitely going to be looking to bounce back here in week number 2. For Dorado, it was a little bit of an interesting situation. They did pick up the 2-1 victory last week. That was over Omega Gaming. But Omega was basically playing with a man down. They were having some serious connection issues with their top laner. And the side of Dorado actually almost lost game 1, despite it being basically a 5v4. So looking for some improvements, I think, for Dorado this week as well.
Yeah, both these teams wanting to have a better foot forward this time around. We have gotten into the second phase here. Interestingly, it is going to be the Taric, so that confirms it is Elise jungle here with Karma mid, it looks like. So very, very much indexing on a Protect the Smolder comp in a sense here, which is kind of interesting. While the Smolder hyper skills, I haven't really seen too many Protect the Smolder comps. It's more just let the Smolder scale comps here, but we'll see how it works out here.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'll be real. For myself, for solo queue at least, I'm just not really kind of a fan of the Smolder at all at the moment. I feel like a champ just takes way too long to come online, and even when he does, it feels like it's hard to really get a lot of value with the pick unless, you could really kind of get that dream scenario where you survive to the end of a team fight where a bunch of your opponents are low. You can start getting those executes, but we'll see if Conduit are going to be able to pilot the Smolder comp to success. Looks like it is going to be the Darius coming through for Dorado on the R5. So that's going to be the pick for Trouble Killer up there in the top lane, going up against Obi's Crocodile.
And the Croc can kind of do stuff into Darius. Thankfully, since you have the slice and dice, it just gives you that extra bit of mobility to get away. However, like all melee matchups against the Darius, you are just basically walking on eggshells here. One small misstep, next thing you know, you have the full stack, the full passive stacks against you, and the Darius is just running you down with 200 AD level 1, and that's what we call an insanely fun and interactive experience up in the top lane. Thank God I don't play top lane here for my sake.
Same.
We'll see if its genetics wants to path top to try and deny this Darius. Because when you put a Darius behind, the champion really struggles when it comes to team fights. And that is quite a huge deal here, because you're going to want as much threat onto this Smolder as possible.
Yeah, it's absolutely right, Goferino. It's a really interesting question. You're obviously correct in your assertion that putting Darius behind can be extremely beneficial. The champion can't do much from behind. You know, if he's not able to pressure in the side lane in the 1v1, he really just doesn't offer too much of anything. But it's a risky proposition, right? Because by the same token, if you gank the Darius to try to put him behind, and then you flub the gank and Darius gets a kill and gets a lead, then it's feeling pretty doomed, and the Darius has the possibility of just kind of running away with the game at that point. So it's an interesting discussion, you know, with the Renekton Elise, assuming Elise is going into the jungle there, which is almost a certainty, but I believe it is pretty much a certainty. I don't think any of these other champs can jungle. Probably not. But, you know, they definitely have the theoretical chain CC, you know, with the point and click from the Renekton into the cocoon. So certainly I think they have the right tools, the side of Conduit do, to try and make an early play towards that top lane happen.
Yeah, because I know the Elise Renekton was a very classic combo in the earlier seasons, because like you said, they both have a lot of early damage. They have very guaranteed lockdown. So they should be able to burst through most people. Of course, though, at least jungle has been out of favor for quite some time here. And well, right now we have Shinzao locked in for the top side here in Dorado Gaming. I'm not gonna say anything definitive. I don't think we're gonna see Shinzao top, but just as a note here for viewers who can't see the in-client draft right now,
I think we are Gofrino. I think that's actually exactly what we're going to see. You know, if you recall, Walk Warlock is normally a top laner. And I actually got absolutely annihilated by a Darius jungle just the other day. He completely destroyed me. So this pick definitely can work right now. I don't know about the jungle matchup against the Elise. I mean, I feel like Darius's Claire is reasonably fast, but probably would be difficult to actually punish the spider in any way. Not sure.
Yeah. Well, Darius Clear, from what I recall, is very fast since they just uber buff the passive against camps, unless I missed a patch where they tap that number down. The biggest issues are, of course, you don't have the top lane economy, so you're not going to have the same level lead you normally would. You wouldn't have the same sort of extra money you normally would for that extra bit of stats to just check people with here. Of course, though, the Elise is clear, not really all that fast. It's very middling from what I know. And the champion just falls off like a cliff, as we all know. You have to make those early ganks work. Otherwise, late game, you're basically a cocoon bot who can maybe go in and Zonius to stall some time. But it's kind of clear here the Elise is just acting as a bridge here for the Smolder late game.
Exactly, yeah. That is the theory, at least for Conduit. See if they're going to be able to execute that. You know, they do have a decent amount of frontline as well with Renekton and the Taurak, and then the Karma, the Enchanter is even there alongside the Smolder as well. So, you know, you mentioned it earlier, of course, also the fact that this composition for Conduit does feel very cohesive in the sense that it is built around the Smolder and sort of getting to that late game and then protecting the Smolder once they get there. So that is really good, at least. I think we are really happy to see that clear direction in the draft, right? Even if I'm not necessarily a fan of that direction personally. You know, if the team feels like that suits the way that they play and they feel confident they can make it work, then power to them, you know, give it a try, right? But we'll have to see if they are going to be able to facilitate that Smolder to a win.
It is a very scary prospect, though, because the Smolder here just going to have a huge target on their head the entire time. And when you look at the side of Dorado Gaming, there's a lot of ways to lock them down. If Shinzao can hop right on top of you, Leona's entire kit, really, if you get hit by one Scatter the Weak here, things are going to look pretty grim unless you get enough shields and heals to get through that, because the Cosmic Radiance ulti from Taric, of course, has that 2.5 second channel time. So you can't use it reactively, you have to use it kind of proactively, and that's not always the easiest to pull off in these high tense teamfight situations. Also, quick update here. The Shinzao and Darius did swap here, so it is going to be Darius top, Shinzao jungle, as we kind of expected. Just a bit of a pick kick up there, I guess.
Yeah, I got baited pretty good, but I was really hoping to see the Walk Warlock Darius jungle, but that's all right. You know, Xin Zhao I'm a fan of as well, so totally fine. Last order of business before we go to break, Gofrino. Which draft do you prefer? If you were in this game, which side of this would you rather be piloting?
Definitely Dorado's here. They have a multi-threat composition. You know, it isn't like, hey, one person on our team got absolutely baboomed here and we're just donezoed. They got multiple threats here. They got the Syndra plus Jinx for scaling as well. And I honestly feel like they should be winning most of their lanes here on the 1v1 or 2v2 matchups here.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's kind of going to come down to if Conduit can buy that time to get the smolder to the point where he's scaled, or maybe Dorado. Last week they weren't necessarily the cleanest in closing out those games, so maybe that's part of the thought process for Conduit as well. We'll have to see what Dorado look like as they take the Rift tonight, and we will be finding out in just a moment. We'll be right back.
seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
For Trouble Killer with that selection, but like you said, definitely going to be less power in the 1v1. We'll have to see.
Oh, okay. We're back.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Summoner's
Thank
Rift
you,
for our
Twitch
first game of the
chat.
night. We have Conduit Esports on the blue side, Dorado Gaming on the red. We had some Raptor Wards. That happened. We discussed the benefits of Teleport on the Darius as opposed to the Ghost. And now Twitch chat, I think you're pretty much all caught up.
Yep. Trouble Killer actually going to take a decent amount from those minions in topside. You only have one potion here with the D shield start, so might kind of suck a little. We'll have to see. Well, that definitely might matter here if we're going to see a level 3 gank come out from Genetics. Definitely a possibility when this wave rebounds off at the turret here.
The Elise did go for the red Wolves Blue opener. It looks like we are going to go towards the Gromp as well, so not immediately moving up for that level 3 gank anyways. Jin Zhao just a good old-fashioned bot to top full clear, looks like, for the Warlock.
Yeah, and Genetics doing an interesting clear here. It's not unheard of, but it's buff to topside here, so this is looking for a very early gank. Getting into the lane here. Yeah, this is fairly early. Scuttlecrab still hasn't spawned. Kind of a testament to how slow the clear is. Spotted out here.
Elise
So
spotted now, yeah. Trouble Killer. The Flash Cocoon does
boy.
land a Darius in trouble, and there's the first blood for the Conduit Jungler. Genetics gets him on the board.
Great Flash Cocoon there. I thought it was going to be a little bit dangerous.
They find the Warlock as well.
minions.
Jin Zhao still only level 3. Didn't go for the Krugs just yet. So that's a big chunk onto the Dorado Jungler as well.
Both junglers looking towards that top side, of course, though. Genetics gets there just that little bit faster since they skip it. An extra camp there compared to the competition. And that's 2 Dark Harvest stacks here for the Elise. You're going to like that. A little bit of extra scaling under the belt already. The big thing, though, is you got that first blood here in the top lane. You're going to put this Darius just a little bit on the back foot. Nothing too much here. You have an extra longsword, but you're not going to complain about an extra longsword's worth of AD.
Certainly not. You know, Crocodile going to be pretty happy with that state of affairs. And we were discussing as well, of course, in the draft, the significance of setting the Darius behind. As the Smolder is getting a little bit zoned off of these minions right now. Warlock going to be able to secure the South Scuttle. So I thought probably that Genex was going to be able to get the double Scuttle there. You know, I even had vision of where the Jin Zhao was and, you know, was able to secure the top one very comfortably after that level 3 gank. But I guess the Elise just not getting to that bot side river in time.
Ooh, I don't know if Genex was spotted there.
Sure.
Okay, they're definitely going to be spotted now when they walk towards the middle of the river there. Sad recall timing, though, if you happen to be a fan of Conduit, though, because able to, on the Dorado bot side, just recall in time before any Elise ganks could come through.
Yeah. So pretty even overall. Only real difference at the moment is in the top lane. It's about a 500, a little under a 500 gold lead right now for the Renekton.
Yeah, this early in the game, it's typically hard to have any massive breakout leads unless you've died twice already. might have a bit of a gank in the mid lane here, but Derism on the Karma just hovering towards the bot side, knowing the top side is a little bit dark here. Spots the Leona.
The junglers going to find each other.
Bullet.
Wind does strike. Warlock going in with the audacious charge. Genetic's able to trade back with the cocoon. Tether on for Derisen, but there's a man advantage right now for Dorado. So mid jungle of Conduit don't want to push their luck too much.
Yeah, interesting. We have both the bot laners up here in the mid lane already. Possibly for a grub fight here, that's typically why you see the rotation come out, but usually it's only just the support and you're happy leaving the ADC on the bot side because right now, first back ADCs compared to first back mid laners, Seven Blade land.
Blade going in. Yeah, the Chomper's beautiful there for the follow-up from Wonderworld. Is Derisen going down pretty low, but so is Frozen Bullets. Leona has to flash away to stay alive, but looking for that reset. Wonderworld moving forward. Derisen able to flash away, also stays alive now. Warlock is in trouble. Gonna get hit by the Dazzler. Jinzhou one hit from dead, but there's no hit forthcoming. Korra finding the scatter there onto Ipsy's Taric. Nobody goes down.
Nobody goes down, but it means this entire time the grubs are being taken on vision as well by the side of Conduit. They're going to secure all 3 grubs in that first rotation here. We'll see if there's a response on the Dragon. Warlock is kind of low right now, can sustain off a camp or 2 to get back into tip-top shape. However, by the time you do that, there might be an Elise on bot side here to contest you for any Dragon takes.
Very true, very true. They don't have much bot prio to speak of right now as well for the side of Dorado. So even if they can hold the wave here, it seems like is possibly the call for Wonderworld and Bullet. Starting to push it out now a little bit more aggressively. Would be a great timing for a gank, on towards this bot lane for Dorado. But Warlock still finishing up the Gromp for now. Not sure. Yeah, the Jinzhou is not going to get 6 off this Gromp. So still going to be at least 1 camp away.
Okay, just recall here. Can we see how much gold is in the inventory of Warlock here? I'm curious. Okay, 1k, so gonna finish off a nice component here. Your bot side's clear. I figured Warlock might stay around here to grab the Scuttle, potentially, just to keep some control over Dragon. You don't want to be falling behind too much in the objectives this early on. However, it does mean you get the Tiamat here. Definitely going to help a lot with the clear speed. It gives you that extra little auto reset as well to get some nice cheeky knockups there with the Triple Talon Strike.
Yeah. I do feel like at some point, the side of Dorado are going to start feeling some pressure to, get themselves into a better position in this game. You were talking about in the draft, Gopher, how they do have some strong scaling elements on their side as well for Dorado with the Syndra and the Jinx. But I just feel like Smolder is kind of a tier above in that regard, right?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends. I don't know the current Smolder build, if it's going to be full crit or just the Essence Reaver here. But definitely going to put out fair damage here. I think the Jinx still scales harder just with how fast you can attack as that champion and the resets here. Right now, looks like Dorado, they're positioning for this Dragon or a gank in the mid lane. That control word taken down. Gonna be Dragon? Question mark?
Waiting for that Dragon. Nobody is feeling brave enough to actually start up that Dragon just yet. The wave does get pushed out for Smolder and Taric. They are not going to be too susceptible to any kind of move from the Warlock right now. Glotta trying to bait him in. Trying to tempt the Jinzhou into charging forward, but Warlock not going to take the bait.
Yeah, 4 versus 3 on the bot side here, if we did see that fight happen. Genetics was not spotted going to this try. However, we did see Derism was seen on that Tragosh control ward here. Interesting thing to point out is that Warlock...
Ooh, that's a bunch of damage. The Jinzhou almost was getting one shot. Forced to pop the Aggression card. Still going to go down. Frozen Bullet trying to buy some time. They do take down the Smolder. The Unleashed power coming out now from the Syndra. But the Taric ultimate keeping everybody on the side of Conduit safe for now. And now the Syndra out of position gets stunned up by Ipsy. And that is a big team fight win for Conduit here towards the bottom lane. 3 for 1. And it looks like they will get the Dragon afterwards as well.
Yeah, it won't be the fastest Dragon take here, since your DPS is only just going to be the Elise, but still, you take that here, and I was kind of wondering, because Warlock committed a lot of time to this bot side. They cleared out their bot side, recalled, then came right back to the bot side to grab Scuttle, and then just kind of hovered around in a river for a while there. And in the end, not able to get too much out of it. Drop dead and just back to clearing top side. 2 out of 3 on the objective feats right now for the side of Conduit. They got the first 3 kills in the game as well. So if they get these next grubs here, they will have the feats.
Absolutely. So, you know, careful about that, though, Gopher. I don't want you to get banned or anything.
That's true.
But you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's been a great early game so far for Conduit, and Genetics in particular is 3-0 on this Elise. Already has the Storm Surge done. We've got a bunch of first items coming through. Syndra does have the Blackfire Torch done as well, as we got another fight potentially brewing here in the topside river. Walk Warlock trying to secure control of the Banana Brush. The grub's been started out by Dorado. The first one is going to reset, okay. And Walk Warlock does not have Smite right now. He's going to be able to secure the first one, so no feat's going over just yet, but in comes Obi, the Renekton, so powerful in these grub fights, and the Karma as well as the damage rains through onto these Dorado members that have just been corralled in the Baron Pit. Another huge win. Genetics does go down, though I didn't quite see who got that shutdown. That is at least 1 kill back for Dorado. They still lose out in the fight, though, and they're still going to lose the majority of those grubs. Mom, not quite going to find the Jinx. It's not past her bedtime just yet.
Yep. And that does mean here, it is the 5 grubs picked up here for Conduit. That is going to be quite the boon to them. They don't really have the strongest turret taking composition here, so all that extra do damage going to help shore up that little factoid there. Push them a little closer, a little further ahead in this game as well. Not a blowout lead just quite yet, but they're up the first dragon. They're up 5 grubs. They're feeling fine.
You know, just hearing a moment ago, the shutdown on the Elise did, of course, go over to Korra's Syndra. Only member of Dorado right now with any kills, so I guess if I just looked at the scoreboard, that would have been pretty obvious. But thank you, production, for pointing that one out for me. You know, play-by-play brain. I'm not equipped to get that analysis done necessarily. I should be good at paying attention though, so that's still on me, I think. Anyways, we do have a little while until our next objective comes up, and you know, for the side of Conduit, they've got to be feeling pretty fantastic about their position in this game right now, right? They're cruising towards that mid game. They've got a bunch of gold on the Karma and the Elise, so they're accelerated towards those first couple of item spikes, and obviously they're very happy to keep scaling up into this one.
We'll see, because Riot was very, very blunt when it came to nerfing Karma mid here. We see the Maligma picked up here, and that was very specifically nerfed. Karma lost a ton of damage on the Mantra Q because of that. Definitely not going to be the biggest DPS machine later on in the game, but with the extra Fiendish Codex as well, that's interesting. I thought we'd see a pivot towards more utility here. Another buff bot for the Smolder, but at the same time, Smolder isn't really a high attack speed champion, so you don't really need stuff like the Ardent Sensor as much on him.
True. Very true. Mostly it's just going to be the shield that is going to be valuable for the Smolder, right? And that does obviously scale directly with ability power. That doesn't make sense there.
Yep. Things have calmed down a bit, though, since that early scuffle. The grubs...
Now, I do feel... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so everything's just kind of settling down. Of course, Genetics has been chilling in this brush for quite some time here. This would be very close to a max range cocoon to land. I don't know if they have the burst damage. Not going to be that. They're just looking
forward. Look for the
pressure.
Potential turret dive. I mean, Elise is good at turret dives, but not when she's 100-0'd. As Leona just says, you're not allowed to press any buttons, and Genetics says, well, that sucks. I guess I'll just die. And that's going to be a kill over to the Jinx, Wonderworld's first of the game.
Definitely concerning person to be given the kill to as well. Jinx gonna be coming online eventually in this game. 101, 123 CS. Fine and dandy about that.
So Obi level up right now on the Darius, but still doesn't want the smoke. Slice and dices away. Apprehend though is gonna put the Crocodile back in. Walk Warlock is here. Try and follow up on this one. The Dominus is also available, but Obi is gonna choose to invest the Flash instead.
Yeah, I think if that wind becomes lightning lands there, the Audacious Charge, that slow's just probably too much to handle there, and you'd be forced to flash anyways, so why not just pop the flash here and at least save the ulti? It definitely kind of sucks as a situation there. Trouble Killer just able to run down Obi's Croc there pretty damn well.
Absolutely. I guess the Darius knew which bush the Renekton was recalling in, and obviously with Walk Warlock there, able to pressure OB back, get the flash as a reward. Very nice. We do have our next dragon on the map now. It's going to be an Infernal for our second one. So we're about to find out as soon as this one goes down. We'll see what kind of soul we have for our first game of the night. It looks like this is going to go over to Conduit with no contest. The Squires does come down, and we're seeing some Dorado Embers start to move over, but they're going to be a bit late to the party. The rocket blocked by Glada. Wouldn't have mattered.
Let's go. Clown Soul, baby.
Nerfed Clown
My
Soul.
favorite one.
Yeah. It was a pretty significant nerf that they did give to Clown Soul on this patch. Is 25% weaker than it was before.
That's my 1984. I've been a Clown Defender since day one, even when it was 10 MS out of combat. Mostly because there's no other Clown.
Are you good friends with Atlas, another Clown enjoyer?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
You probably
Atlas
would
was
get
a
along
Clown
really
enthusiast.
nice. Oh yeah, that's his favorite soul for sure. Clown
Augers.
Soul.
Oh,
Okay,
Wonderworld,
Genetics thinking
some
about a
demons
play.
there.
Oh, Cocoon not quite going to land. The Jinx does not have a turret. Looks like it's not going to matter.
That being said, though, with Elise for Genetics showing bot side, free reign over this Rift Herald right now.
True.
Dorado just gonna pick that one up here. No real contest. I mean, you have Yipsy in the area, but yeah, maybe clear out some vision here as the Tarek. Not even that.
So I believe with that second dragon, actually, Conduit did secure the feats for themselves.
They
I
got
believe.
beforehand. They got first turret.
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. So everything really going over to Conduit here in terms of those early game objectives. At least that Rift Herald going to be secured now by Dorado. Let's see what Wak Warlock has in mind with Shelly.
I'm gonna
Yeah, Cocoon
miss.
relatively close.
Yeah, I got 3 minutes till the next dragon here, so there's not too much to fight for on the map right now except turret damage, which
I
obviously
think
the
you
team with five-
definitely. No, sorry, I didn't mean that.
Oh yeah, obviously the team with 5 grubs can do a number on that. They're allowed to touch it.
Absolutely. I was going to say that 121 stacks on the Smolder, so we're almost at that second break point. Once the Smolder does get to that 125 mark, it's able to start accelerating quite a bit quicker, right? So pretty good pace for Glada in this one. But yeah, I do feel like Wak Warlock should definitely utilize Shelly to get some control ahead of that next dragon spawn, right? It's really, really important, I think, for Dorado that they do secure that next dragon to prevent Conduit from going up to Soul Point, right? Especially when you're playing against a Smolder comp, you know, giving them that Dragon Soul win condition as well would just be very difficult to play against.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one thing we don't really see teams do too much anymore. Use the Rift Herald as like a side lane threat when it comes to the third dragon or second dragon of the game if it happens to be delayed. but
Oh, Zenith Blade
no
onto
follow-up.
the Smolder, but Glada has his Tarek there and is also pretty close to the turret. The Solar Flare coming out as well, but now Frozen Bullet's kind of out of tools, has to flash away from the Dazzle. Lipsy was threatening the lockdown there onto the Leona.
It's a bit of calm here.
Excuse you. They're putting you to sleep as there hasn't been fighting for a while,
I
Gofarino.
guess, yeah. I haven't had any caffeine today, so that could be why. I'm used to having a little more stimulants in the body.
Yeah, maybe you know, during the break we got to get you over to the Dunkin' or wherever you get
I don't
your
do
regular source
coffee.
of caffeine. Oh, you don't do coffee ever?
No, it tastes like bitter piss. I don't know how people gaslight themselves into liking that.
Okay. Do
Okay,
you
was
have
that
another
word for
source
our
of
producer
caffeine?
That it's because the world is a depressing and sad place.
It was hard to argue with that, yeah.
True. But yeah, I could never get into it. Oh, okay. I could never get into it. I honestly tried. The best I could do is espresso because those are tiny cups with a lot of caffeine in them, so it gets the pain over quick. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
why would I even do this?
Have you ever tried like a latte or something, or like a coffee drink with espresso? Because then you know
I
it's
don't
a
remember.
much
It's been a
different taste.
while.
It's not bitter like just a cup of coffee would be.
Yeah.
Especially
it's-
if you add you could do like a syrup in there, like a vanilla latte or a hazelnut latte. Pretty tasty if you ask
yeah,
me.
the sugary stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who
The last
doesn't
time
like
I
sugar?
tried coffee, I think was like 2016 or 17.
Well, we'll get back to that in a minute, Gopherino. We do, I think, need to turn our attention back towards the game for just a moment here, as the Cloud Dragon is spawning in just 20 short seconds, and mid control currently all the way in favor of Conduit. They've got pretty much everything that they need to set themselves up for Soul Point here. And Dorado, they got to come up with some kind of plan. Walk Warlock still holding on to the Herald for now. I'm expecting that to be dropped. There it is. So they're gonna. Oh, that inner flame damage was pretty nasty from Derizen. Genetics off here on the flank with the Elise. Gonna be able to clear out that ward in the line brush. So river control as well for Conduit. Herald is going to charge into the tier 1. Not quite going to take it down fully. The Jinx Rocket coming out there gets Glotta chunked down pretty low. The Smolder does not have teleport at the moment either. So now with that mid prio, we see Dorado moving into the river. Pretty nice scatter onto the Elise. Genetics is going to be able to stay alive for now, as there goes the Leona over the wall, but the follow-up isn't there quite yet. Frozen Bullet at least able to walk that one off, but now the Leona ult on cooldown. Once again, Trouble Killer has teleported in. Genetics going down pretty low, has to flash away the Unleash power coming out onto the Karma, but is able to stay alive for now. Obi already popping the Dominus on the front lines, able to slice away. Nobody has gone down just yet. Both teams kind of playing a little bit cautious. There's the flash forward for Obi, one shot. Korra's Syndra. And there's Frozen Bullet is going to go down as well. Wonderworld taken down by the long-range Smolder. Q's already in the air. The Jinx Flash still goes down. Double kill for the Smolders while Warlock cannot get away. At least one does go back for Dorado as Trouble Killer picks up one underneath the turret. But it's a triple kill for Glotta's Smolder and Soul Point on top for Conduit.
That's going to bump them up to a 4K gold lead here before they pick up this turret as well here, crewmen. What a powerful position to be in. It was a very long fight, and it took a while for anybody to die there. It's just that one small misstep there from Korra, allowing themselves to get stunned there by the Slice and Dice into the Ruthless Predator there.
I think it was just flash stun from the Crocodile. I think the Slice and Dice was on cooldown. So it was just an instant flash stun, and Syndra just dropped.
Yeah, so big pickup there led to just snowballing the fight there. Because it could have honestly gotten almost anyone's way there. There was a huge start to the fight there because Glotta got chunked down super low there. Had Frozen Bullet hop on top of them. And with that Zenith Blade, there's the rocket follow-up, but not enough before the Cosmic Radiance could come down. This buys a lot of time for the Smolder.
Yeah, who is now about 1,500 gold ahead of the Jinx at the moment, is Glotta's Smolder. And already accelerating towards that 225 stack point as well. Fantastic position. So we're at 200 right now for the Smolder. So pretty great pace. Otacon is alive right now, as we can see up here on the top side of the map. Genetics up there in the vicinity as well. Looking for potentially another lane gank setup as the Elise has snuck into that bush in the top lane. Korra playing pretty respectfully for now underneath the top tier 1, and now some more Dorado members moving up.
Yep.
Oh, Korra has to flash away from the cocoon. Didn't know that the spider was in the bush. And now is going to lose the summoner for it.
Well, I don't know about starting up this Otacon here. I think just sussing it out there, because Otacon does a buttload of damage.
Yeah, Walk Warlock just poking it with the spear. Honestly, probably was hoping that Otacon would start attacking some of the Conduit members. They were actually closer. But Otacon knew where that poke came from, as the Crescent Guard can get forced out by Walk Warlock, who's a bit overextended there in the enemy jungle. Smolder, I think, probably has the stacks at this point. I mean, I think the Smolder has scaled. His 2 items is done for Glad as well. He's got 9 stacks to go. There's a cocoon onto the flashless Syndra, and Korra never stood a chance. There's the turret is going to go down as well. 6,000 is the gold lead for Conduit. They are cruising towards a Game 1 victory.
Yeah, Dorado's going to have to find something here quick. They're looking for a pincer maneuver.
Charges forwards. Yeah, this Wonderworld is in such an awkward position here on the side. It looks like the Jinx is just going to get soloed out by the Karma. There's nobody to be able... Oh, a great return damage does come out. Wonderworld almost able to turn that one 1v1 around by himself there. But Walk Warlock and Frozen Bullet now can't do much, having already lost their AD carry. Although the Smolder also died somehow. Not quite sure how that happened.
It looks like Glada died there before the Cosmic Radiance was able to finish the channel. Yeah, I was too busy just watching Wonderworld get kind of bubbling there. Like, you get hit by that one Mantra Q, and then you're Jinx. You have 2 items now, but in that fight, I think it's still 1.5. So you're not really able to cut through the Karma all that quick, and...
Okay, I mean, in the end, not the worst for Dorado, right? The fact that they did actually get the Smolder down as well, but now they got to do something about this Otacon. Is, you know, gradually getting burned down by Conduit. Warlock is in the area, but the Xin Zhao should not be allowed entry into the river. He flashes away, forces out the Crescent Guard. Glada just needs a couple more flaps to get inside the circle, and the execute, the burn damage persists after the Crescent Guard goes down. Warlock using everything there, still drops. The Otacon goes over, and with the enemy jungler in the Death Chamber, should be an easy Baron secure for Conduit as well. Oh, I'm Wonderworld.
Oh, Wonderworld's donezoed here.
Super dead, yeah. This Jinx is about to get flashback, but it's not gonna matter. Obi gets on top. Crocodile picks up his 2nd of the game. Still a 0 in the death column as well for Obi. In this one, there's the Baron going over, and I think this one is all over but the crying Gopher.
Yep, bit done and dusted here. We'll see what Dorado wants to do in the next game here. Because their chances of comeback are very low. They do have a chance of the comeback. You know, don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Right now, though, Dorado definitely kind of gasping for air a little. They've stayed underwater a little too long.
Yeah, we're reaching the end of the music video, and it's just once the music stops, it's not going to be good for the side of Dorado. We do have another dragon coming up here. This would be Clown, excuse me, I almost misspoke there. Clown Soul would be secured for Conduit if they can pick this one up. Moving over now, Baron, of course, in tow as well. They've got that Baron buff on for about 2 more minutes. Warlock and Trouble Killer trying to secure as much vision control over the area as possible, but Korra's caught off on the side, and the Syndra is just going to get absolutely obliterated. It's risen with the tether onto Frozen Bullet now as well. Leona and Trouble. Renekton just chasing every other member of Dorado completely out of the river, flashing over the slice and dice, and Obi just assassinates the Jinx. She was in the middle of her team, but it did not matter. Absolute annihilation here in this first game as Conduit just run him over.
Yeah, it was pretty close for a lot of the game, but Conduit just able to stay on top of the objectives here. They're able to get first grubs, they're able to get first and second dragon. When grubs respawn again, you know, they got all but one of them. And it's basically just been a sweep for them in that department. The objective's definitely helping them a lot with the snowballing this game, but then also just key members getting fed here. I mean, you got 2 deathless members here, one of which is going to be the Taric support, which is not something you got to say every day.
Pretty nice scatter there from Korra. Will at least keep the Nexus turret alive. But the Soul now has gone over to Conduit. And yeah, it kind of goes back, you know, even thinking back to that early top lane gank, the lane gank from Genetics. The Elise was really creative, I think, in this early game and getting herself that early lead and controlling the objectives, like you said. And just really felt like, you know, the fact that was the weakest, the most dangerous point in the game for this composition, right? For Conduit was the early game, before your Smolder can really do anything. But they had the Elise and the Karma there to bridge. They played it out beautifully. They got that early lead, and they never let go control of the game since.
I'll run away with it here. We'll see how they bring it on home. Bot lane inhibitor was taken down. I don't have too much of the Baron buff left here, but this is a very successful Baron buff. You know, you're able to crack open the enemy base. You're able to win a team fight and extend your gold lead. Cracking up the enemy base alone is one of the ideals to get when you get that Baron. Well, being able to get that and some more here.
Yeah, definitely the case. Now all that remains to be seen is how cleanly the side of Conduit can close this one out. Warlock trying to see if he can catch somebody out of position, somebody who's extending forward before the rest of the team gets there on the side of Conduit, but just not really the case. Ipsy doing the due diligence, checking the bushes.
Yep. And Baron up in 2.5 minutes
Cocoon
here.
not going to land this time. The fight is breaking out. A score finds a scatter off on the side, but Walk Warlock's just going to get obliterated by the stacked up Smolder. Now Frozen Bullet. Oh, is a little bit out of position there, unfortunately. Tries to flash, just gets boomed. And Korra finds another scatter. The Unleashed Power comes out onto the Smolder, but Glada's the one with the execute. Korra will live.
Really? Is that something you want to be saying here? But it is what it is. And once again, the march down mid resumes here. 5 stacks of grubs. Oh,
Flashing forward to Risen, assassinates the Jinx, and that, I think, is going to do it. Korra is going to die as well underneath the top tier 3 as the last couple of inhibitors fall. Trouble Killer, the only one left to survey the ruins of his kingdom. The Nexus turrets under fire. Walk Warlock back in the Death Chamber, but it's not going to matter. Trouble Killer goes down. The Gleaming Brilliance from the Terror keeping everybody topped up. Frozen Bullet retreating back to the fountain, and 31.5 minutes on the game clock. Conduit Esports take game number 1, their first win of the season.
Yep. 26-5 here at the end as well, crewman.
Yeah.
Definitely a rough one when you look at the scoreboard. A lot of those kills, though, were, of course, in the later stages of the game when they were already ahead and they're just able to wipe every single fight. So, obviously, that affects the stats a little, but still, I mean, good showing from them. And we'll see if they're able to continue that going into the next game here. Dorado going to want to go to the cutting board on this one and draft up a new strategy going into this next game. I feel like they're like one step behind there on a lot of the things when it comes to the early objectives. And by the time they're contesting the later game objectives, they're already a bit behind.
Yeah, it definitely did kind of fall apart a bit in the early game for Dorado. And, really, I think the credit can go to the side of Conduit, though, because definitely, Genetics in particular, I think, did a great job of controlling that early game. And then Glada, obviously scaled up and was able to do Smolder things. Did end up topping out those damage charts, 29.5k for the tiny little dragon. We've got some post-game stats, I hear, that we're going to be able to take a look at. We're looking at the post-game stats right now, right?
Okay,
obviously.
cool. We don't see that on Parsec.
Okay, yeah.
Alrighty.
Who's your POG for this one, Gofarino? What are you thinking?
Probably Genetics, yeah, for setting up a lot of the early game there. After that, probably Durizen. Putting in quite the showing on the full AP Karma. I thought it was just going to be a more support-orientated Karma in the mid lane, but it is going to be that full damage Karma. Able to snowball here, 6-1 and 14. Even with some assassinations.
Yeah, Durizen definitely got some good value out of the full damage build. Definitely a couple of big mantra Qs at critical moments to chunk out those enemy members and facilitate Genetics and the rest of the squad in controlling those objectives. Definitely looked pretty good across the board for them. And we will see what the side of Dorado are going to be able to draw up on the cutting board, like you say, Gofarino, on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Blue Otter Premier League. We are soon going to be getting underway with our Game 2 Champion Select. Our teams, of course, are going to be swapping sides for this second game. We're going to have Dorado moving over to the blue side this time around, and Conduit Esports is going to be playing from the red side. Last game, as previously discussed, pretty one-sided in favor of Conduit, right, Goferino? So what are we hoping to see from Dorado in this one? In the draft phase specifically, what would you like to see from them to show us something different?
Because I like Dorado's comp here, as the draft has actually started here. If we flip over to that, there we go. I like Dorado's comp. It just didn't feel like they had as much agency, I guess, as I wanted to see. You know, just being behind on all those objectives really hurt. And they had the winning lanes in theory, but kind of got neutralized in practice, it felt. So
yeah,
we'll see what they do to change it up this time. And yeah, I don't know why we're having the game one. I think that's the game one draft? Question mark? Oh no, those are the fearless.
So the
bands.
fearless, yeah.
Okay, I was like, wait, how are we already in
champions.
second ban phase?
No, nothing like that. Right, yeah, that would have been weird. But yeah, definitely. There was that one objective. It was the second round of grubs that Dorado did show up to in the previous game. And then that ended up really just not working out for them at all. There was a level 6 Renekton that kind of showed up and kind of rained on their whole parade. So we'll see. I definitely hear you, and I feel like draft was definitely not the main issue for Dorado in that previous game. And we're going to need to see them, I think, be a little bit more coordinated, a bit more proactive on the map here in this next one to get us towards that game 3. But all done with the first ban phase here, Goferino. We do have the Melzigs and Brahmin banned away by Dorado. Misfortune, Cassante, and Aatrox removed by Conduit. And here comes the victor on the B1.
Yep, and the last time it looks like it was the... Oh, okay, a bit of a swap up in the bans here, but the Azir that was banned last time does get through. I'm curious if the Mel gets, sorry, I thought the Mel got through. Might be. The Hui looking to be the answer here for the Victor. Interesting enough, the Hui does outrange the Victor for the most part, but we know the Victor just really strong in general right now. Had to get 1 or 2 love tap nerfs. A blind Nyla, that would be very brave to say the least. I know we have seen some very sparse Nyla play in pro, but the champion just feels very niche right now, and I don't know what the itemization is looking like. I know late last year is like collector rush. I don't know about this season what the rush is, if it's still collector, or if there's another option for this champion. Okay, it's gonna be Caitlyn.
And here they got you all excited about the Neela pick, Goferino. Nope. Just going to be the Caitlyn in the end. A lot of range already for the side of Conduit with the 1-2 on the red side. The Azir is the one champ that was banned in game 1 and is now available. But we already have a couple of characters that are likely going into the mid lane. So I don't know if we're really expecting the Azir to be making an appearance in this one.
Yeah, unless it's the Forbidden Victor Top Tech from Season 8, or... probably more likely the Hui Flex support. We haven't seen the Hui support in a while, just due to the fact that Hui mid is very strong in general and fits into a lot of comps, but can be flexed here. I wouldn't mind it being paired with the Caitlyn, since it does give you a very long range bot. It's not guaranteed Caitlyn lockup though, since it's not like landing a Morgana bind or the Lex bind, which are both very long range non-committal forms of CC to keep someone in place to rid them with that Yordle snap trap.
Yeah, it definitely can work with the way where if the trap is behind them, you can like fear them into the trap, right?
Yeah, if they're already on the trap, you can fear them just to keep them locked a little longer. However, the Dorado gonna lock in their top side here and save their bot lane for the second phase. Although I know Victor bot has been picking up some steam, so something to keep in mind here. I do like the fact that they locked in the melee top laner though to pair with this Sejuani.
Yeah, and Irelia definitely seems like a trouble killer kind of champion as well. He's been really good on these kind of melee carries, last week as well. I don't think he played Irelia last week, but it seems like it could work out well, and a great pairing alongside the Sejuani, like you mentioned. A Mumu is going to come through, though, for Conduit, and this is a pick that has found a lot of success here in the Premier League already.
Yeah, even in Pro too, I believe that champion has been
Yeah.
popping up more and more. If I'm not mistaken, I've not been keeping up the closest with LCS and LEC, but I could have swore I've seen some of Mumus picked up there. However, we are getting to second phase here, and with the bot lane not being picked up by Dorado, we are seeing that bot lane pool just chipped away at here. The MF and Nami already off the board here, Brum as well. Poppy has been cropping up as a support pick, so definitely pinching the pool just a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely the Poppy ban makes sense for Dorado. It would be a great selection into champions like Sejuani and Irelia, right? To really deny a lot of what they want to do. As the last ban from Conduit, going to be another support option in the Alistar. A couple of different types of supports that they banned away. And the last ban now coming through from Dorado, probably expecting something else that would be good into Irelia to get banned away here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Could ban away the Darius here if you want to.
Well, Darius was picked in the last game, so he is no longer eligible.
Right?
It's fearless, yes.
Fearless. So. Okay, don't have to worry about that. Thank God. Nautilus though going to be locked in here, so whatever you pick in the bot lane is going to be getting hit by those hooks and dredge lines. Well, I guess you could pick Sever and get quote unquote hit by them, but. Hey.
Yeah, but if you spell shield the dredge line, then you're going to get hit by the depth charge. So that's the problem with Sivir, right? She only gets one spell shield.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult.
Yeah, it does kind of suck. It is a bit of catch-22, although spell shielding the dredge line and the depth charge, I'd say, is probably more value. Because then the Nautilus can't really get into range for you. Maokai going to be locked in here as the support, most likely. Interesting.
Yeah.
Has been making a little bit of a comeback this season and is definitely very pickable. Works well into the Nautilus because your dash-in cannot be interrupted by the hook, unlike champions like, say, the Thresh, where you're going in, but you can get just yoinked out there by that dredge line. What's it going to be paired with, though? We'll have to see, because the timer is ticking down here.
Yeah, they probably would like to go for the Misfortune. That obviously was banned away.
Okay, Aurelia mid, Victor bot.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I don't like that comp. I'm not a fan of the Dorado draft. How are you feeling, Goferino?
It's certainly a comp. I mean, because
there's a lot of
Sejuani earlier than the Caitlyn, and you're gonna be able to outwave clear that champion. So I can respect that. The Irelia into the Hui, though, I'm curious about, because Irelia does do a lot mid lane, can just trounce on a lot of these control mages. The one thing Hui has going for him is just how long of a range he has as an artillery mage on top of being a control mage. So that will give you at least some flexibility to stay away from the Irelia, who just as soon as you hit level 2, you just start spam Q on all the minions, and the next thing you know, you're sustaining through all the poke take and hopping on top of the enemy laner.
Yeah. I just feel like, so there's a lot of brawly boys and girls over here for Dorado. So, it is pretty obvious how they're gonna want to play these fights out theoretically, right? You just kind of all pile in on and try and get to the carries, right? But their dive tools are not the greatest. Like, you've got Sejuani ultimates. If you can set up, an angle for the sets, he could maybe get into that back line. Irelia has a bunch of dashes. Theoretically, she could probably try to get back there as well. But I just feel like when you look over to the other side and you see what Conduit have, I feel like the Jax value here that they went with on the R5 is crazy. I think this is a very easy game to play for the Amumu. Like, you don't even have to worry about engaging. You just kind of have to stand in front of Caitlyn and Wei, and as soon as Dorado tries to dive forward, you just press R and laugh at them. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning right now with these drafts, but maybe Dorado are going to be able to find some creative angles to kind of circumvent what seems to me like pretty obvious counterplay for Conduit.
Yeah, well, that's something we'll have to see, because obviously Dorado was trying to cook with this comp, the B1 Victor, like, oh, is that mid or is that bot? And then next thing you know, it's bot, but that is something you have to show off in the last phase here. But hey, We'll see if it works out for them. I'm curious how it's going to match up into the Caitlyn specifically, just due to how the champion is going to spike earlier and just hit those wave clear breakpoints where you can just AFK against the Caitlyn. Same time, though, you do have that very low armor, so if you eat one dredge line here into the cupcake, you're going to be taking a fatty.
Yeah, definitely the case. Definitely the case. The Maokai, paired up alongside the Victor, I think can work really well, right? Because Maokai has all that CC to lock people down and take multiple ticks of damage from the Chaos Storm. That can work well. So it's just gonna come down to if Dorado can find the right angles in this one. Definitely the fact that you mentioned Victor actually has some reasonable presence into the Caitlyn, even in the earlier stages as well, just because he's able to get that wave clear online pretty early. So, maybe we transition like a safe laning phase for the Victor into like a strong mid game where you have all of this CC, all these team fighting tools, and you can kind of try to snowball that way. I don't know. Could work.
Yeah. It's an interesting comp here from Dorado. I mean, if you take any one of these pieces out of context, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's just when you put it together, the comp definitely does look a kind of bit funny here. I'm wondering what the main goal of this comp is, because if your soul laners get ahead here for Dorado, you could have a nasty 1-3-1 here. Just slap the Victor in the mid lane there, continuously wave clear any threats there, and then you have the Fed as hell set and Irelia in the side lanes, able to outduel anyone on the enemy team that just 1v1 them.
Yeah, I mean, the Jax theoretically could work well in the side lane, but that's true that the side of Dorado do have that extra side lane threat. There's only one Jax, right? And you can't be matching both the set and the Irelia. So that could be something there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and not too much else to say about Conduit's team. It's a very clear like front to back composition. Like you have the tank support, you have the tank jungle. Those are both your primary engage. You have the bruiser top laner who can scale up to do some decent DPS. Be a bit frontliner, be a little bit of damage, and then you have the Kate Hui in the backline, two decently long range carry threats or very long range carry threats in the case of Hui. Just chip away at the enemies. So we'll see how they function here. Because obviously, with 4 melees on the side of Dorado, the melee champions have to get into range of these carries. And as you mentioned earlier, Kerman, we do have some slight concerns about how they're going to do that. There are some clear tools. You have the Nature's Grasp, you have the Frozen Tomb. So, got some options.
Frozen Tomb, actually, Lyssandra's ultimate. Sejuani's the Glacial Prison.
I always mix them
Tricky
up.
with those Freljord champs. Yeah, they're in the same theme, obviously. It's very, very, easy mistake to make, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's
Production
easy to
has
remember,
another
okay,
name for
Ash
it.
is enchanted crystal arrow because nobody else uses arrows.
True.
Braum, Glacial Fissure. Well, he kind of makes a fissure there.
Literally
okay,
a fissure.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes
Glacial
sense, yeah.
Tomb, Glacial Prison, like, those are so
No,
simple.
I hear you. It's a fair criticism. We'll have to get in touch with Riot about maybe renaming one of those abilities. I'm sure that they'll be sympathetic to your plight as well, Goferino.
More sympathetic to my plight of getting the goddamn icons for Chemtech and Hextech dragons finally properly added to a spectator.
One problem at a time, Gopher.
I've been told
Anyways,
that that's even worse now, so yeah.
It did get worse. It did get worse. Everything's fine. It's on fire, but it's fine. But yes, I think it's pretty safe to say for you, Goferino, that you're gonna in agreement with me that the side of the Conduit Esports have the better draft. I think, in my opinion, at least. Is that fair to say for you as well?
Yeah, I'm feeling the Conduit draft here a little bit more. It feels like the Dorado draft just cooking a little too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not America's Next Top Chef, and maybe I kind of just missed the ball there on this prediction. And Dorado actually has a 3-star Michelin chef sort of meal here with this cooking draft comp. I don't know how far I want to push that metaphor. Either way, though, we'll see if they have secret sauce here once we get into game, because I'm definitely with you here, Kerman. I'm feeling Conduit's comp more. It's much more generic. It's much more straightforward. We'll see if they're able to bring that one home.
I feel like that's most of what's been finding success here in the Premier League so far, is just standard team fighting comps. That's definitely what Conduit had to work with in this one. Dorado definitely have some strong elements in this draft. It definitely can work, but especially factoring in what we saw in game number 1 as well. think it's going to be a pretty tall order for them. We're going to go into that break, guys. On the other side, game number 2 between Dorado Gaming and Conduit Esports. See you on the Rift. All right, folks, welcome back on to Summoner's Rift for our second game of the night. Dorado, we do now have on the blue side, Conduit Esports playing from the red this time around. Conduit picking up a pretty one-sided victory in game number 1, and Dorado now with a pretty unorthodox draft. See if they can turn things around.
Bit of a middle time invade coming out. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's just to place a ward here, and it is indeed just to place a ward. Keeping track of the enemy junglers here. Once again, it looks like Core is not going to be able to make too much headway on in unless Warlock wants to jump on in here with the Glacial Assault. Do it.
Yeah. Arctic Assault.
Arctic Assault.
Good try, though.
All right, cancel recall.
I mean, Sejuani really doesn't love starting Q. It's not the greatest for your early clear.
That's true. Yeah, I figure the permafrost on you is just a little too clutch.
We should also mention, this is a call out from our producers. We do have a good old fashioned mech battle here in the top lane. It's Mecha Kingdoms set versus Mecha Kingdoms Jax. We were just talking about anime a little bit earlier as well, Goverino. Very cool.
Yeah, we'll see. Thankfully, it's not the gotchas. That skin.
Thank goodness.
I do not want to see $250 pay-to-win garbage here.
Yeah, that would be painful.
That'd be a nightmare for me. But, yeah. Things should be a little calm here. Maybe some explosive stuff happens level 2. We already see in the mid lane right now the range difference working out into Rhythm's favor, but keep an eye on when Korra hits that level 2.
There's the level 2. The Frost Wet lands. Drizen in trouble. There's the first blood. Did not respect the level 2 spike for the Irelia and instantly gets punished. Well played from Korra.
Well played indeed. That's one of the strengths of Irelia into these mages in the mid lane. You have a much faster level 1 push if you're willing to put your Q there, which is not a huge committal. You get the reset when it kills a minion, and it heals a little bit of health back. Main issue you have to worry about is taking a bit of poke in return. Irelia specifically has nerfed magic resist because too many people are picking her mid lane, and when a champion that's not supposed to go mid lane pops off mid lane, Riot just goes, alright, we're taking you from base 30 MR to base 28 MR.
Yeah, that is how it goes. But Korra able to navigate that beautifully, and now has an early lead over Dorizen's Way in the mid lane. Both of our junglers started on their respective red side quadrants, so they are clearing towards opposite sides. Genetics is coming down towards this Caitlyn Nautilus lane, and Warlock on the Sejuani pathing up, join up with Trouble Killer's set to potentially participate in this mech battle as a Facebreaker is going to land. Obi potentially in trouble. Does have the counter strike there. The Q flash comes out from Warlock. The leap strike is there, but the permafrost follows the Jax. Obi with the flash does manage to get back underneath the turret. Close call. Glada, meanwhile, in the bot lane also has the flash. Get away. The Ignite still ticking. The Caitlyn will barely survive with the potion ticking. Glada manages to live, and now the hook back in. It's Frozen Bullet, who might be the first to drop in this bottom lane, but
what happened?
Quite just yet. Genetics is here. We did get another solo kill in the mid lane. Genetics flash for the bandage toss to flash away for Frozen Bullet. Keep Maokai alive for now. Thinking about a turret dive here for the side of Conduit. The dredge line is going to land. The Nautilus starting this one off. And Moon getting in there with the bandage toss as well. The turret shot is enough to get that kill back onto the Amumu, and that is going to mean the feat of Warfare is going to go over to Dorado. Glada will be able to get away from Korra, who teleported in.
2 for 1 there in the bot side, but you will take that. Sadly, none of the kills going to Glada there, but the 1 kill you give over in return goes over to Frozen Bullet, so it's not like you fed Wonderworld there. Wonderworld didn't even get an assist off that play, so not even going to get the extra jibbies for the evolution there. See how things pan out here. Right now, this is kind of what we expected in the mid lane initially when we saw in the draft. It was Victor B1 into the Hui R1. However, not quite the case right now. 2-0 is this Irelia. We did miss another solo kill there while we were pan to bot. I'm assuming
Could be a third, though Fear does come out this time, though.
I'm assuming it's something like that where you just Q to a minion and then land the other bit of the Flawless Duet there and get the stun. Hold that thought. Nice stun.
He finds the counter strike. Genetics is here, but Trouble Killer, well aware of that, has the ward in the Pixel Brush, and is going to be able to back it on up underneath the turret. But yeah, we've clearly seen the Irelia mastery shine through from Korra already in this one.
See if they can keep it up here. This is a fair lead. I mean, almost 20 CS up right now. 17 CS, that's 2.5 waves. Kind of scary here, because 3 waves is about 1 kill's worth of money, if you at least factor in the cannon.
First dragon alive. It's an Infernal to start us off this time around. Grub's going to be up in about 20 seconds or so. Looks like, well, the Sejuani, as we can see, waiting around here in the south line brush towards the mid lane. And the Amumu, I thought was going to come down, because Genix does have the Wolves and the Gromp available right now, but it looks like Genix actually playing towards the top side at the moment. It means this Drake is going to go over uncontested for Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, definitely slightly early for the dragon. Usually we see it. Oh, Banish Toss
There
does
comes
land.
the Amumu. Trouble Kill is level 6, and the angle was kind of given there, unfortunately, by Genetics, and not quite able to find that second Bandage Toss. So the set does have to commit the ultimate, but is not really going to be in too much danger there.
See if Grubs are the call here. It looks like they are, especially with this dragon falling and the global notification. Just got an alert, hey, Grubs are completely free and uncontested here. Just grab them for yourself so you're 1 for 1 on the objectives. And yeah, able to grab that dragon relatively scot-free. You had Pry on the mid lane. Eventually some Pry on the bot lane, and just easy pickings there.
It's going to be the early neutral trade, as we so often see. And, you know, I have to imagine that the grubs specifically would feel nicer for the side of Dorado, right? We were discussing a little bit how they're going to have the option of the 1-3-1 setup later on with the set and the Irelia to really threaten those side lanes. So mostly a denial there, I feel like. Of course, Jax does quite enjoy having those grubs also.
Jax plus Caitlyn. Caitlyn with the 650 base auto range.
True.
Definitely makes things easier. And yeah, Conduit, or sorry, Dorado would have also really liked it themselves there. As mentioned, they have the split push side lane threat, but also Irelia plus set, they're already pretty good at taking turrets, so why not make them more scary? You're also having to deal with
max range E again. The Vanguard's Edge comes out and Arisen is just going to get sliced to pieces. Cora is putting on a masterclass right now in the mid lane. Oh my, 3-0, 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, I feel for Arisen here. I've been on this side of the Irelia versus Control Mage matchup. It's like, can I land anything against you? No, you just have a million dashes, and I'm getting baboomed left and right. Alrighty. Enjoyable.
Pretty
Have a nice day.
much. Second is going to be the Blade of the Ruin King. Oh, Dredge Line landing. Frozen Bullet as the Gravity Well is going to lock down the Nautilus for just a moment, but Wonderworld not able to threaten too much. Doran's Ring Dark Seal Victor. Don't have the damage quite yet. Really look for these kills. But still, I mean, the Victor Maokai have done a great job of controlling the lane.
That is a big deal against Caitlyn, who wants to get incremental advantages in the lane, whether it's just getting a nice CS lead plus some plates, or just heavily denying you from playing the game by outright killing you with ganks. That's another option too. Right now, as you mentioned here, Kerman, basically neutralized. You have the 2 assists as a slight advantage here, but you're getting outpoked by this Victor who now has the Lost Chapter, so mana even less of a concern now. I'm assuming Wonderworld also has the mana flow here just to make it much more easier to keep spamming, clearing these waves. I feel like that's a bit of a necessity too, as your team's only ranged wave clear.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. We're going to have some more grubs in the relatively near future. I believe in about a little over a minute's time, maybe. Dredgeline is going to land in the mid lane onto Cora, but the Irelia unperturbed immediately goes in, gets the flash out from the way, and Cora is still relatively healthy as well. The support is here, trying to peel away Genetics Amumu, but flashes in, gets the R onto 2. They take down the Sejuani. That's 1 kill on the board for the Amumu. Now, Wonderworld also moving over on the Victor, not in time to participate in the fight, though. Just going to be that 1 kill for Conduit.
Thankfully, you keep the 3-0 Irelia alive, so you don't give over that shutdown. A 500 gold influx tier to Durism would have done quite a bit to bring this champion back in the game. I mean, you're only sitting on tier and Lost Chapter right now. Your enemy has Boots plus Bork on you. That is going to be extremely difficult to lane into here, unless this is enough of a point here for Durism to just kind of AFK spam clear waves, which I don't think is enough. Typically, the Lost Chapter isn't enough for most mages to be able to one-tap waves.
Or look for something here? Couldn't, because the Amumu is right there. The Irelia's not going to press her luck. Frozen Bullet's also in the area.
Yeah.
Looks like nothing's going to happen. You know, Dragon is spawning in less than a minute now. Grub's coming up before. Nautilus is, the one caught out in the jungle. So I wasn't expecting the Maokai to be there, and now Ipsy, I don't think has any way out. Tries to hook to the wall, but really nice interrupt there from the Sejuani. They're going to be able to take down the Nautilus. Unfortunately, though, last hit going over to the Maokai again there.
This is seating up top control, though. Your most fed member down here on the bot side, you have 3 members, including your jungler here. That is going to give up 6 grubs uncontested here, which does concern me. If you are Dorado and able to keep snowballing this lead, of course, though, grub's not the biggest deal if the enemy is just never able to hit turrets. Galaxy Rain idea. It does suck for you, though. You really want that true damage.
Okay, the play on Deglada. Oh my goodness, I thought there was maybe a Caitlyn there a second ago. I'm not entirely sure, as Ipsy is going to get cut down once again. 5-0 now for Cora XTC on the Irelia. Just taking over this game.
5-0. Bit of a counterplay that was tried to set up there in the top side here by Conduit. They had 3 members looking for a dive. Counter-Strike gonna land.
Good trade for OB.
Yeah, it is difficult to dive the set, though, because if you come at the wrong angle, you get showstopper down, and the set kind of has a free way out, but the set also has plenty of CC to keep you locked into the turret, plus the Haymaker shield. That's a tough one to deal with and always cut through, so it was a tricky thing there, no matter which way you cut it.
Second dragon going over. Looks like we're going to have a Chemtech Soul here in this second game. Go for Reno. Chemtech Soul slightly buffed on this patch. Really, to me, didn't really feel like that buff mattered too much. Do you feel like that buff is anything for Chemtech Soul? Like 2%. You have like a 2% more damage resist when you're below 50% HP. No. Yeah, the Banshee. Oh, not quite going to land there, though, for Genetics. The Spiraling Despair does come out onto the Mount. Guys, Frozen Bullet going down pretty low. Curse of the Sad Mummy committed there as well is going to mean that the kill goes over. 3-1 now for Genetics on the Amumu. It's our Game 1 POG, right? The Conduit Jungler trying to bring this one back.
See what they can do here. Obviously, this one isn't over by any means just yet. It's really only the mid lane that is super in favor of the side of Dorado right now. Bot lane, you know, that's relatively even. There's going to be a slight gold lead here thanks to some plates that were picked up by Wonderworld. Top lane, you know, you have a slight lead. Jungle, you have a slight lead. Support gold difference, that's negligible. Well, it's 500 gold, but basically negligible supports.
It's on a Maokai.
About tank engage supports.
Exactly.
Like extra gold you get on those is a luxury.
Yeah, I mean this game is really going to be all about Korra on this Irelia, right? She is the main character in this one. So it's going to be if she continues to pop off, or if the side of Conduit can find the angle to shut her down. Showstopper in the top lane as Trouble Killer tries to use Obi to taxi back towards the turret. Okay, this set. Ooh, that was really close. The Haymaker, though, was still available for Trouble Killer. Will survive. A little bit of a close call, but is going to be able to get out. And 6 grubs for this Jax. If Obi is unanswered, you can make quick work of this turret. Frozen Bullet is here. And so is Walk Warlock. So they're going to move in to defend the turret. Obi jumps back towards a minion. Never really quite picked up turret aggro there. Genetics does pick up the turret aggro. Another turret shot going down there onto the Nautilus. Nature's Grasp committed by Frozen Bullet as well. But the fact that only Maokai and Sejuani are here means that they're not actually going to be able to get any kills.
Yeah, like you said, it's only Maokai Sejuani here, so not a lot of damage to really threaten them. But you do keep the turret alive against the 6 grubs. If this lands, this is a kill. Okay,
yeah, it definitely would have been. I guess Korra didn't quite get in range there.
Nope.
Blade. Oh!
I think this is
there was a minion there. Oh, the fear, though, from the way. That was a must-land skill shot, and Arisen will land it.
You're walking on eggshells here as Arisen. Like, you want access to the wave, but it's kind of hard, which is a weird thing to say with someone as long of a range as play.
Yeah. It's the truth, though. So the blue buff will be secured by Genetics. Arisen able to pick that one up as well. As Warlock can't quite find the Q flash there, and OB is going to be able to get back underneath his tier 1.
Able to get out of that one. So the Conduit's shout out here. They have stabilized things, you know. This 5-0 Irelia is still only 5-0. It's not 6-0. It's not 7-0. So that is something. And with the Hullbreaker as well, interestingly enough, very hard committing on the split push angle, it would seem.
It makes sense with this composition, I think, right?
Yeah. That's another reason why I kind of felt like they probably should have just rotated top for those grubs instead of hard pushing bot.
I hear you.
Because no grubs versus some grubs is a very noticeable difference here. That true damage does indeed add up when you're auto attacking the turret a lot.
And this is what we want to see from Walk Warlock, right? Just live in Korra's pocket. Yes, that Curse of the Sad Mummy is not going to make Wonderworld sad whatsoever. It's Glada who's going to be the one shedding some tears. Wonderworld picks up their first of the game on the Victor. Genetics now in trouble. Amumu, no way out of this one. Trying to give this one over to Victor as well. There it is. Shutdown even for Wonderworld. And that is pretty big. 2 kills onto the Victor. Now going to be a secondary threat alongside this Irelia.
Oh my.
Okay, even in the top lane as well. Trouble Killer wins out in the mech battle. Dunks Obi. And the entire map now is falling apart for Conduit.
Yeah, because when Derizen TP'd to the mid lane there, it meant this whole breaker 2-item Irelia just alone in the bot lane, able to keep pushing there and get that inner turret. Keep in mind, inner turrets give a lot of gold if you pick them up solo, and if they happen to be in the side lanes as well. So that's going to catapult this Irelia even further. Potentially close to 3 items here on this back. Okay, 2.5-ish. 9.2k gold.
It's great. It's disgusting, actually, how strong this Irelia is.
Yeah. And it's kind of nutty, because it looked like an okay start there for the side of Conduit. You have that gank at the mid lane, but you just whiff it so hard there. You miss the Curse of the Sad Money. You miss the bullet time, or the bandage toss there, I'm sorry. It just costs you so much. You're going to deny the soul sweep here, it looks like, so that's something, but you
Look
are
at
going to
Femtech
collapse
Dragon.
on.
Herald is crashing into the mid-tier 1 as we
Oh,
speak, and
that's-
Cora on the flank angle is going to slice
Oh
him up
my, let the
once
twink live.
again. The way is going to be eviscerated. The Amumu cannot get away. Trouble Killer picking up his second there. They lose out on the Dragon, but Dorado managed to pick up pretty much everything else. Even into the top lane goes Cora looking for the 1v1 against the Jax now. Counter-Strike pretty good against Irelia, but not good enough when she's this fed. Obi has no chance. Is going to get cut down. Cora XTC is godlike.
I looked a little close there for a second once the Counter-Strike popped there, but there's only 1 item here on this Jax. I think Obi only just getting the Cauliflower's Hammer here on that back after the death. And it's a rough one here. I guess the cooking comp is working out here. Flash
hook.
This is a big
Is it
shutdown.
going to be enough? I mean, Gladys 3 levels down, just gets popped like a balloon. You can't go for that play when the Irelia's... You need all 5 to kill Cora at this point, and she's just making fun of him now. I mean, the Nautilus is going to get destroyed as well. Genetics can't get away. Big ol' punch to the face there from Trouble Killer. Triple kill for Cora. 10-0 now. I mean, just put him out of their misery and at this point.
Yeah, like, that was brutal there. I do have to criticize Glada, though. They walked up closer to the Irelia, which they shouldn't be doing there.
I mean, if you don't walk up to hit the I mean, that's clearly the call from Ipsy is right. It's like, okay, all right, she's at 50% HP, we can go for this. And Glada was like, okay, I'll follow, and then used it. So it's like,
Glada,
I hear
don't
you,
know, because
but
Glada walked much, much closer than they needed to. Because they have
fair enough,
650
fair
auto range. I think they're within, like, 300-ish range if I had to give a ballpark. Yeah, you don't do that. The Irelia is just going to hop on you and kill you. Now, this is a 3-item Irelia with the Giant's Belt to boot. And everybody on your team is sitting on 1.5 items tops here.
it's a slaughter. I mean, this is more one-sided than game 1 was for Conduit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the Iceberg versus Titanic matchup in terms of one-sidedness.
Yeah, I mean, 7,000 already at 20 minutes. Otacon is alive on the bottom side of the map. And Cora also on the bottom side of the map. Means that's probably going to be her Otacon. We do have some Conduit members in the area. They're trying to secure this blue buff right now. Cora waiting in the bush. The Arctic Assault to set it up. There goes the Nautilus. Tries to hook away. Misses the wall, unfortunately. Caitlyn is also going to die as Cora does go legendary again.
No.
Trouble Killer finds the face breaker. Going to be able to dunk Derizen. Double kill for Cora. The Nautilus actually did manage to survive. Spotted out, though, by a sapling. Is Ipsy going to find a good hiding place? Frozen bullet. Eyes on the prize. And the prize this time around is a Big Daddy. The Bramble Smash, not enough through the shield of Ipsy. But I think Bramble Smash a lower cooldown. There it is.
Yeah.
Some supportal combat. As,
Definitely
Cora's
very
going to get this
brutal here.
inhibitor turret. And then it's going to get a free Amumu. Very cool. Very, very, love that for her, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
13-0-1.
Yep.
13k, more than double the gold your lane opponent has. One thing I do got to criticize here, though, is I didn't know about Walk Warlock rushing the Hearthsteel here as a Sejuani.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit more common these days on a number of different tank junglers. I don't really know how I feel about it either.
Because you're not really in combat to proc it a lot. So unless
I mean,
the
it's
stats really appeal to you, which Sejuani definitely can get away with. This champion was one of the champions who could rush the Warmogs realistically because he gets so much armor from the passive.
yeah.
But at the same time, you're not really proccing a lot. And I think Heartsteel's not the most gold efficient item. I forget.
It's a very expensive item.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure about the gold efficiency either. You know,
Well,
okay, we've got a
Bandage
bandage
Toss
toss landing. Irelia is here though, so
No damage to follow up as well.
yeah. We are gonna have a dead Nautilus to start this one off. The tier 2 is probably going to follow pretty quickly. Ikora doesn't have a minion wave, does not care at all, and that turret is going to fall down.
Well, it looks like they subscribe to the school of thought where you can give up all the grubs, just don't let the enemy really hit your turrets here.
Yeah, no, that strategy worked out quite well for them, I'd say.
It does mean, though, you take turrets much slower here, because one of the changes that happened when Riot did, of course, introduce grubs, they're like, you know what? Since people could potentially get 6 grubs worth of true damage to these turrets, we're going to have to buff the baseline resists on them, buff the baseline health, so it does make taking them noticeably slower here. It's not going to be as big of a factor here in the late game with all these items coming in for these carries.
We are dead again. The Nature's Grasp comes out, gets a couple of roots down. Correx, TC gonna pick up that first kill. They have found Glada once again back towards the Nexus turrets over there. And then we've got some flashes over the wall. We also have some Otacon buffs, so nobody on the side of Dorado is actually even slightly at risk of dying, even in any real sense. Derizen running for the hills. The hills are pretty far away. The way might actually get to them, so that's cool. He's going to be able to teleport out, in fact. Teleports to the hills. Good move there, probably. And this is going to be the Chemtech Soul Point secured for the side of Dorado. And, as well, to return to the sort of grub conversation that you were having earlier on, it would be extremely difficult also to siege into this Conduit team if the side of Dorado weren't so comically far ahead, right? So that's, something to think about as well, where the lack of focus towards the grubs could have really come back to bite them.
Yeah, it definitely could have gone very south here. Especially with a 4 melee comp, your only wave clear being this Victor, or at least wave clear you don't have to put your body in front of them for. Definitely could have gone south here. There's a reason why I was favoring the Conduit comp here, but
yeah,
you're able to snowball like this, especially through that mid lane. I mean, top lane, that was staying relatively even. Jungle, you had the slightly... Bot lane, you weren't able to get the Caitlyn you wanted, but, you're staying even here. The Caitlyn should outscale. Just,
here's
out of control.
Here's something that I want you to consider for a second, Goferino. So, this was... So, Dorado, they did get the win last week. So they did win the 2-1. I'm not sure. Hang on. Actually, let me find right now and see if Cora played Irelia. I don't think that she did. But where I'm going with this is after this performance, I'm expecting Irelia to be banned against Cora every single game for the rest of this season, right? Are you with me there?
At least in a lot of them. Because Derizen hasn't even finished their second item here. This should be a slaughter.
Derizen does manage to get away from that. Oh, the Nature's Grasp, though, is going to catch out the way. The Spiraling Despair is not going to save him. It is Despair for the way, in fact. He is the one despairing. And Frozen Bullet is going to get the last hit again, which is kind of funny. But it doesn't really matter. And so my question kind of was like, do you feel like this was the right time for Cora to bust this out, basically, is where I was going? Because I feel like... And it obviously it wasn't guaranteed that, she was going to pop off this hard. But, I mean, clearly, in hindsight, looking at the full composition for the side of Dorado, this was actually a Cora draft, right? She was calling the shots in this one. She was like, I'm going to carry on the Irelia guys. Let's just draft around me, and I will carry. And So I'm kind of like, the thought process I'm having right now is like, should she have saved this for like later on against maybe like a stronger opponent or something? Is going to go underneath the inhibitor turret right now. Glada is going to get assassinated. Cora is going down extremely low. The Curse of the Sad Mummy, the shutdown, the Deathless Irelia, Deathless no longer. Trouble Killer is going to get dropped as well.
Okay.
So a little bit of a stand there for Conduit. And the Dredge Line is going to land on a Frozen Bullet as well. The Maokai is also going to get taken. Obi picking up the last hit this time around. Over the wall goes the Jax. The Blast Cone is a little bit unfortunate. The Wonderworld has to backstep from the Severing Bullet. Is actually going to obliterate the Nautilus, but in comes Obi. Has returned after his adventures with the Blast Cone. Takes down the Victor. Walk Warlock is going to be able to trade back. It's actually the Chaos Storm. Is going to get that kill onto Genetics. And now Obi going to be able to finish off this fight. So a 5 for 3. As Conduit actually do manage to win a fight. It did cost them a Nexus turret.
Yeah. And another sad thing is, thankfully Obi got 3 of those kills there, because the initial 2 kills of that fight go over to its Genetics. Like, you need some kills in your 0-6 carries here. Like, and that shutdown would have just been so massive to pump up the economy. Because a 2-item Caitlyn here with barely an attack speed, a 2-item Wei with double mana items, these aren't really going to be cutting it here. And
no, a 0 in the kill column for both Wei and Caitlyn is definitely pretty tragic for Conduit.
Yeah, like even if you got those kills on the right people, you'd still be in somewhat dire straits here. Like, even with those big shutdowns picked up, you're down 9k, your base is exposed. You can't go anywhere on the map really to contest any objectives, realistically speaking. But it would have been slightly more of a leg to stand on here going into this next fight. We'll see, because Genetics looking here.
Okay, they're looking for Cora. They're bringing all 5 members. This is what you have to do. Cora looking to at least get one back to Vanguard's Edge. Takes down Genetics. They're looking for Glada as well. Double kill in the 1v5. Cora still standing, still fighting. Finds 2 with a flawless duet. They will get her down in the end.
Yeah. They tried there. There's only so much you can do.
Killed the Irelia. Yeah.
You don't really have a ton of damage here, as mentioned. You're 0-6 now, one of which is 0-7 carries. Like, it's kind of hard to cut it typically. If you're 0-6,
this is going to be the end. Nature's Grasp underneath the last remaining Nexus turret. They go. Trouble Killer, a little bit of flare, diving forward with a showstopper. Very nice. Obi trying to make something happen. Jax is pretty tanky. He's getting some value from the counter-strike. He's going to get his face broken a little bit. So is the Nexus turret, as it does go down. There's no auto-attackers left here for the side of Dorado. They can't actually finish off the Nexus quite yet. But any minute now.
Yeah. That's dire straits. They can pick up the Chemtech Soul here. That's going to make things even more of a nightmare to do, because we saw how long this Irelia for Cora was staying alive there in the 1v5. Now try it with the Chemtech Soul just giving you 12% DR to deal with all of that. That is extremely fun to deal with.
I think if Cora had the Chemtech Soul for that last fight, I think she actually would have won the 1v5. What do you reckon?
I don't know about 1, but maybe they would have gone 3 there. Does land the stun.
Yeah, just pushing away the enemy jungler, making sure that Genetics is not going to get anywhere near that Dragon Pit. There goes the Soul, Chemtech Soul acquired now for Dorado. And I would love just a 5-man push down the mid lane right here.
Yeah. Or realistically down the top here as well.
That would
get
work
that
too,
last inhib. Make him deal with.
There's literally no turrets left anywhere for Conduit. It really doesn't matter too much.
No, they did respawn here.
Oh yeah, okay. Some respawning Nexus turret action is happening.
Not gonna last long here,
dashing
but
forward. The Spiraling Despair is going to connect for Derizen. It's going to tickle the Irelia a little bit. And here is the Nature's Grasp. Bishop Prison does connect onto the wave. We do have the Sejuani did go down. And Cora is extremely low as well. Jumping forward to the Jax. They managed to take down the Irelia. And we do have Glada still hitting from the backline. Lands the Peacemaker. Caitlyn still standing. Takes down the Maokai. The Haymaker at least takes down Glada. But now it will be the set dropping as well. The Showstopper not enough to get Trouble Killer to kill onto the Jax also. And would now be a good time to remind our audience that Dorado almost lost a 5v4 last week.
Yeah. Definitely having some troubles here finishing this one on out, surprisingly enough. Great fight, though, from Conduit. You're just able to get in there, CC lock a lot of the threats there. I think that was a 4-person Curse of the Sad Mummy here, crew, man. They're just locking down people to eat the AoE from the Spiraling Despair and eat a bunch of Caitlyn auto attacks. In the end, make that fight go your way. I'm thinking what's going to happen here is that Dorado, they just reset and look for the Baron here. Those inhibs should be respawning somewhat soonish, I feel. So while you still have the pressure on the map, might as well get the Baron for free here and then just look to shove through. If you have the triple supers, it makes end of the game extremely easy.
Sure does.
Starting
but
it.
ending the game doesn't really seem to ever be easy for Dorado, is kind of what I'm learning. They are going to start up this Baron, like you say, like you were requesting them to do.
Here.
Not going to find the flawless duet onto Obi. Frozen
I
Bullet
think he just
also
gets
running
his Baron
interference
pig,
off
the
on the
DPS.
side. Mega Blast Cone going to be denied. I like also just hitting the Baron, but Genetics, it seems like, is not spotted in that Tri-Brush towards the top side. I swear, if the Mumu gets a Baron steal, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, the Mumu is now spotted.
Now.
Yes.
Has
Needed
the
to get
Christmas
that
Dead
vision
Mummy
on the Baron
available.
health bar. They're not zoning the Amumu. They're looking for a turn on the other side of the fight. They know that Amumu is not here. Showstopper forward, as it is going to be Derizen in a whole bunch of trouble. But the Way staying alive for now. Does take down Trouble Killer, but the Way and the Setter are both going to drop. Glada was hitting pretty safely. Flashes away now from the Irelia. Glada trying to do everything that he can in this fight. Is eventually going to go down. Very, very chaotic, messy fight there. Just barely it is Dorado who come out on top with the 4 for 3. Only Obi left alive to try and defend the exposed Nexus.
Yeah, well, they do have the turret that respawns, so...
Oh, that's right.
Both
Actually,
of them
it has both of them
So
respawn.
pick up this
Wait,
mid lane inhibitor here.
why do those Nexus turrets not have health bars? Am I?
It's right games. We know how they treat spectators.
Yeah, Spectator. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Obi is going to find the Counter-Strike. The turret
Ready
aggro
comes back
has
up
been
soon
picked
here.
up.
I don't know
Yeah,
if they can end.
They can't end. Korra is going to get stunned up by the Counter-Strike once again. Ooh, Obi, that was risky to go in. The Flawless Duet is going to miss, though. Teleport in now for Trouble Killer.
Get the inhib, please. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, they're not even going to stay for the inhib.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt like the
go
optimal...
for Reno. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I felt like the optimal play is there after you win that fight, just take down the mid lane inhibitor while the bot minions are crashing on in. Because now, with all 3 inhibs back up, yes, the base is fully exposed, but that gives Conduit at least more breathing room here. You don't have to worry about the supers pushing in on one lane specifically constantly.
Yeah. It's pretty insane, honestly, that Conduit are still in this one. They have level 18 now for the Way, who is just so far behind. It now has 3 items. Walk Warlock over the wall, gets the stun onto Ipsy, who does very nicely hook his way to safety.
Keep in mind, the Baron was left to reset there in that fight. Still curious why Korra wasn't DPSing the Baron. This is a Blade the Rune King Irelia, full build. You do a lot of damage to it, and yeah, look at how much faster it's going down with that champion auto-attacking, but I feel like you gotta hop off
Genetics
this.
finds the bandage toss. It is onto Korra's Irelia as they're piling everything onto the Irelia to see if they can burst her down. Trouble Killer gets a massive amount of damage off with the Haymaker, but the set is going to drop, and Korra has fallen as well. This is looking like a teamfight win for Conduit when they were so far behind against all odds. They take down Walk Warlock. It's only Wonderworld left. The bandage toss is going to miss, but Ipsy is there with the dredge line for the lockdown. Wonderworld goes golden, and it's not going to save him. Unbelievable go for Reno. The hook, it lands again, and Obi is there. They take down the Victor. It's a 5-0. It's a clean ace for Conduit Esports. What the hell am I watching?
I don't know, but with how long death timers are, there's 15 seconds until the first member of Dorado's back up here. You have 6 grubs.
No way.
This is the 2-0 here against all
No way.
Dorado's not able to bring it home here.
Yo, Korra's back in 5 seconds. The Nexus turrets are obliterated. Korra And Trouble Killer, they've respawned. It's not enough. Oh my god. Conduit Esports. Take the 2-0.
Okay. It's definitely a 2-0 they had to work for in the second game, but
Oh man.
2-0 is 2-0, I guess.
It sure is. It sure is.
I do gotta ask Dorado,
Ah.
like, what the big let up there was in the late game. It felt like they just let things fall to the wayside. They're not able to bring things exactly home, and really just taking an L there.
Yeah, no, they did. They did end up taking the L. They really shouldn't have. They like they weren't gonna take the L, but like they were at the store, they were shopping for their W, right? And then they see on the shelf there's like a buy W get an L for free, and they're like, oh, free L. That's I guess that was too hard for them to pass up. It was I think they got scammed though, Gopher. I really think they got scammed a bit taking that free L.
Yeah, definitely some criticisms to be levied there against Dorado, because it felt like they should have just had a very clean win that game, but obviously it isn't. The quadruple melee composition just kind of biting them in the ass there, letting them eat a lot of AoE from the enemy team there, and just eventually dropping.
Yeah, no, that's a great call out. With compositions like this, I think that's kind of the main reason, honestly, why we weren't fans of it, right? Is because it's just harder to pilot in the team fights. Like, they weren't able to take out the priority targets. Irelia was so fed, but just that was the issue as well, I guess, for the side of Dorado, is Irelia was kind of the only one who was that fed, right? So it was a pretty clear game plan for Conduit. It just, in that last fight especially, they just piled everything on top of Koro. They threw everything at the Irelia, and then once she was down, they were able to clean it up pretty easily. Insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy stuff. That game never should have lasted as long as it did. Dorado should have been able to end like long before then, but they weren't quite able to. And big props to Conduit for staying in it and finding the angles that they needed. I mean, we can sit here and say that Dorado threw the game, and while I do think that's an accurate statement, somebody else has to catch the game. Right, somebody else has to be there to catch the throw, and Conduit, they were patient, they bided their time, they waited for their moment, they saw it, and they executed. So a well-deserved 2-0.
Yeah. See how
Who's your
they're able
POG?
to... It's kind of a hard call, because obviously you want to give Cora the POG here, but
you can't. She's ineligible. Yeah.
Maybe Obi for staying strong there and making a pretty decent comeback on those Jax as well, since they're able to get a lot of those tail end kills in the later stages of the game and really catapult themselves to a big backline threat there. Well, I guess frontline threat that's threatening the backline.
Yeah.
It's just a weird one.
I like the Obi votes. I personally, I would feel a bit of an imperative to give it to Genetics. The Amumu was maybe taking a few more last hits than he should have, especially, particularly in that early game, right? But did secure the 6 grubs, right? Denied any of those grubs from going over to Dorado, and also was the one who initiated the engage onto Cora in that last team fight. But I could be persuaded to vote for Obi as well. I think the Jax did a great job of cleaning up in those late game team fights as well, no doubt about it. Very, very critical piece for Conduit and actually being able to turn that game around. And I guess that's going to do it for... I still can't believe that ending, man. Cinema.
Yeah.
Enough said. Into the break. We've got another match coming up after this, guys. Let me just really quickly pop over here. That's going to be Team Solo Invade going up against Elysium after the break. See you there.